hosting, the Devolver page. You're on Devolver's Twitch, and it's like, is hosting Twitch. Who's hosting Devolver?
Right. Well, at least it's better than Sony's that died in the middle.
Oh my god. It was so bad. I have thoughts on this.
Did anybody else watch Devolver's thing? Because it was kind of hilarious.
I
watched parts of it
physically, and then kind of turned it off, and then turned it back on, and saw somebody getting shot, and then I was like, okay.
Yeah. I watched parts of it. This is Devolver. It's always weird, but kind of very hilarious.
Yeah, they at least announced stuff. Like, I mean,
that is true.
That seemed different than last year. So
I don't remember what they did last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was a lot of commentary on other conferences, like even more.
Alright, let me close
that. Alright, we're live. I probably should have mentioned that.
So, I mean, it's a shame that Spider-Man's going to be just garbage. So
yeah, it's pretty bad.
If we're live, I'm just going to give you a heads up. We are not live on Twitch because I'm still watching.
Looking at us on Twitch.
I just reloaded and it's there.
Is it on GameEnthus?
Yeah.
Oh, it still had a live stream of Linux, so impressively, it was still Linux's gameplay of Overwatch. So
I thought he was retired.
I was shocked. I did not get a message to come play Overwatch. I was a little disappointed. So, but that's fine. So I'm not going to take it too personally.
It is not personal. It's just business.
Oh yeah, no, I see it. I see it on Twitch.
Good stuff.
All right. I guess we should probably start the show. It's like 9:17.
Sorry, we don't have that much content to cover, anyways, right? It's just not really that as much has happened in the last couple of days.
So now you all get to watch me like do the goofy intro. This is weird. This is.
Whose idea was this?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Anyway, all right. It's Wednesday.
I promise not to play Fortnite on my Switch while we do this.
I wish I could, but I've logged into a PS4.
Good luck playing.
No!
Once. I've logged in on total one time. Oh, anyway.
All right. It is Wednesday. What is it? June 12th. This is GameEnthus podcast.
It's not Wednesday. It's actually Tuesday.
It's not.
It's Tuesday?
It's Tuesday. It's still the 12th. So, like, we haven't changed a year.
I still had Wednesday on the outline. You know,
I noticed that too.
I'm like Ron Burgundy. Anything you put on the outline, I'm gonna read.
San Diego?
A Wales. Anyway, it's Tuesday, June 12th. This is GameEnthus podcast episode 346. I got that right. I'm Aaron, one of the hosts here. Tiny is also here.
Hey, I am here, and live and in color.
Hey, as am I. Ben is here. Say
hey,
hi, Ben.
How's it going? We got props today too.
Yeah, and Mandy has decided to join us again. Amazingly, welcome back, Mandy.
I'm here.
Woo!
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. So, yeah, let's just jump right in with the anecdotal stuff and get that out the way, and then jump into all the stuff that that we're here for, the E3 stuff. So, Mandy, what's been going on with you as of late?
I took my motorcycle up to Laconia Bike Week this past weekend because the weather was good, and it was lovely.
Okay. Good weather also. The good weather? Get that?
Yep. Good weather. Perfect day for riding. And just, it's also like this is my first year or first previous winter having been in the Northeast. So the idea of like putting your motorcycle into storage over the winter and not being able to take it out was a little mind-blowing. So I was like, oh, the weather's good. I'm going. It doesn't matter what else I have to do.
I'm going to ask this question even though once I get the answer, I won't really have a picture, but what kind of bike do you have? And I'm saying that as if I know what you'll say.
I'll send you a picture of it later, but I have a cruiser. It's a 2009 Kawasaki Nomad, which is a large 1700cc, basically a touring bike, almost.
Okay, now I only know CCs from Mario Kart, so
I know 50. That was going to be the reference.
I know 100 and I know 150. So where does that fall?
Pretty big, right? I mean, but it's a cruiser.
Like, yeah, it's a pretty big bike.
Yeah.
This is one of the lean over bikes, not the lean back bikes, right?
No, it's a lean back.
It's a lean back. Oh, I guess
it's not a crotch rocket.
Yeah, it's a cruiser.
Right.
So
you did say cruiser. Sorry. Yes. I'm learning. I know nothing about bikes. I assumed everything that's a Harley, people are leaning back. If it's not, you're leaning forward. So.
It's basically like a Harley is the closest I can.
Okay.
That's not what I can give. There you go. I'm just gonna like randomly send you a picture of it. Here you go. Done.
Nobody can see that picture, but I can tell that picture is not you. That much.
Well, no, it's not my picture.
That much is evident.
Of the bike. Actually, hold on. Just go straight to it. Yeah.
Cool.
It's like stock images, but that's the bike.
That looks nice. I have no.
Now that
I don't do the bike thing. I don't have one, but I also don't have any real interest. So for those who do, that's what's up.
So this was the first weekend you got to get it out?
Yeah, I got to take it like just for a quick spin to make sure that the engine was still running all right and everything. But this was the first like trip. It's about 350 miles. So
good stuff.
Yeah, that is certainly a trip. I have an issue falling asleep when I drive, so it'd be probably good if I had stuff surrounding me. It's like a bubble, metal and glass, and some steel.
And also surrounding the other people that you're going to run into.
Hasn't happened yet. Hopefully it won't. We're gonna kind of combine like a quick game we played mention in this section. It's kind of injected in. So, have you played anything in the last couple of weeks that's a particular interest?
I mean, of particular interest, nothing really like super new. I've obviously like a lot of us trying Fortnite on Switch since that's just dropped. But otherwise, I've been trying to like knock out a little bit of my stack of backlogs. That way, I can like feel less terrible when I buy all these new games coming out.
It's awfully optimistic, but no, I'll go with it.
I try. Doesn't mean I succeed, but.
Oh no, I just build backlog. That's the collecting is the game.
My goal is that my backlog will get so bad that I will play the remaster of the games that I haven't played because they're in my backlog.
Okay, I'm not that bad.
I mean, it cancels out. Like I own
I
own 3 versions of Shadow of the Colossus, and I've never finished that game. So
the first time I played Dragon Quest, which one? 8 was
on PS2.
Well, no, I didn't open my PS2 version because I bought it on 3DS.
Right. We've had that discussion. Ben, we might have a problem.
We're past that point.
Yeah.
You're past having a problem, and now it's a habit.
Right.
Are we going to a convention pretty soon where they just pretty much sell a bunch of games that we'll be tempted to buy, being in a room with them?
See, this is why I have a charity booth that I don't have to leave, so that I don't spend money.
I just ended up buying a bunch of beer and not really buying anything from the convention. So
how is that different than any other convention we go to?
No, but I didn't buy any games. Like I bought a stuffed animal for my son. That's what
gotcha.
This is acceptable.
I'm just thinking of PAX East though, and the beer caravan that you and Nitro
and the metric ton of beer.
I'm
just
tagging along. I just tag along.
You scheduled.
I obviously missed the party at PAX East.
They scheduled an hour to pack the beer into the car. Like, they felt they had that much beer. We need to figure out how long this is going to take.
I'm pretty sure we all inexplicably started humming the Tetris jingle as we were doing it because we just had to fit stuff in.
Wait. Did you actually put it on your calendar? Like, guys, we need an hour to pack the beer.
I think Nitro was like, I'm waking up at 5 to leave. Oh, wait, no, I need to get up at 4 to pack all of this.
It was a lot of beer. Like, it was a lot of beer.
It was a lot.
It was. Like, I don't drink beer, so it meant nothing to me, but it was still impressive. Like, this is a lot of beer.
But I mean, there were 4 of you that were in the caravan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Caravan of beer?
2 of our friends drove up to PAX East instead of flying or training it or whatever. So they were the pack mules for bringing everything back. So there was a lot of craft beer that I saw. But anyway,
the craftiest of all.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ben, quick update. What have you been up to, buddy?
Let's see. I was in New York for a couple of days, visiting with some friends, so some family friends. Did some touristy stuff. Never done the Statue of Liberty before, and that was pretty fun. Ate a lot of good food, Empire State Building. Went to one of the Lego stores in Manhattan. They have what's called the Lego Mosaic Maker. So I got some props here. Also known as the Lego Infinity War, meme thing. You can see that.
That's just the child dissolving into Legos.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's a child turning
and you can
into
see
ashes.
how
That
big
just
this is,
seems-
like compared to my head. So it's pretty large.
What playset is this?
So this is the Lego Mosaic Maker. It just opened last month in the Lego store in the Flatiron District. Okay. It is the first one outside of the Europe. There's one in the UK that opened up 2 years ago, and what it does is it's a photo booth where you can go in and they take a picture of your face and then they digitize it and then make it into a Lego portrait. And
that's pretty cool.
Did you do a family portrait in Lego? Is this what we're gonna find out?
Don't give me any ideas.
I may or may not have boxes here.
Okay.
Works.
So
yeah, I'm not.
So we all did the family portrait. We all did one picture each. So that was pretty cool. Was really excited when I heard that it had opened up in New York, since I did not want to have to trek out and pick that up in London. So because I actually happen to be going to London later this summer. So
you just ship it back to yourself.
Just a coincidence.
Yeah.
That's true.
Shipping stuff is always free.
Well, actually, I mean,
I
don't know if you want to go into the detail, like, without going into much detail. You're going on a boat, though.
I am, yes.
So, like,
well, one way.
Oh yeah, you are. Okay.
About one way, and then I'm
I was
flying.
gonna say put it in storage. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Only if I was flying there and taking a boat back, yes.
Just ask the captain to hold it, on the bridge.
Right.
So that was the Lego trip, the New York trip.
The Lego trip.
Ate some good food. One place that I'd been meaning to eat. There was a restaurant called Xi'an Famous Foods, actually made famous by Anthony Bourdain. So obviously he passed, last week. And it was I don't know, for something something that really has kind of stuck with me a lot, I think, just because I think I really liked him as a person and the things that he did, and so happened to eat at one of the restaurants that he actually made famous. The owner of that restaurant actually had posted something that posted some stories about when he had met Bourdain and actually donated all the proceeds from all the restaurants, I think, on Friday to Suicide Awareness Foundation. So so that was my trip to New York. In terms of gaming stuff, I did pick up an Xbox One X. There was a good deal on eBay last week, so got one for about $350.
20% off thing?
So I was pretty happy with that. Gaming wise, it's been a while since I've been on, but God of War, finished that a couple weeks ago. Pretty good. Really haven't played much besides that, and kind of my normal couple hours of PUBG every week. And then also building Labo with my son. So my son is 6, and from a dollar to time ratio, like, Labo has been fantastic. We're still going through the variety kit. We have made it through. We are now probably halfway or 2/3 of the way through making the motorcycle. So there's still, like, the piano left, which is is going to be a couple hours by itself. So it's been a lot of fun. He's been kind of making it mostly himself. So definitely, if you have young kids, I think that the price is, it could easily be much more expensive, given the amount of time and attention.
Please don't give them any ideas, because they will. I'm just saying,
But it looks so fun.
It does look fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It's great. I think it's great for kids. So that's mostly what I've been playing.
Well, you crack the seal on it, man.
I can pull mine out as well. I have one over in the back.
We haven't opened the robot one yet, but I opened the other one with my nephew and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
show off these post-its that I have. Make it into a flip book. Just jealous.
How about you, Tiny?
So the big thing was I was at AnimeNext over the weekend for Extra Life in Atlantic City, which is like that was a great show. We had a lot of fun. We got a hotel because I didn't want to commute back and forth back to Delaware for the 2 nights. And so I go to check in at about 4 p.m. at the hotel, and I put it into my GPS so I get there, and I realize the name of the hotel does not match the reservation. And this is the first sign of many that are going to lead me to canceling this reservation. So we get in, ladies, we're checking in. She gives us a room key. We go up. There are people still in the room she gave us a room key for.
Is that right?
Yep. Look.
Were you at the right hotel? I'm still confused.
I was. It was so we booked at a Residence Inn because I had 2 other people with me, so figured get the extra space. The kitchenette would be nice, cool. It was Resident Apartments is what it was called. On its sign, it advertised weekly rates of $249.99, which is interesting because our booking was $372 for 2 nights. So I thought that was cool. So we go back downstairs and say, like, hey, there are still people in said room you gave us. What's going on? She's like, oh, well, we're overbooked for the room you wanted. We don't have any. Can we give you a bed and a couch? Like, we really can't do that. We have 3 people. We need the space, blah, blah. She's like, I can transfer you to another hotel. Okay. Right. She's like, it's called Hotel 1. It's 2 miles down the road. It'll be on your left. You'll have to make a U-turn because it's New Jersey. And you'll see it. I'm transferring the reservation now. Good stuff. Get in the car. We drive 2 miles down. No Hotel 1. I'm like, okay, pull over. Maybe I misheard or whatever. Let me Google it. Nothing comes up in Google or Waze or Bing or any of the other search options.
You went to Bing. You got
try to find this hotel.
Or Lycos or Web.
So were you scammed in terms of?
Wait, who?
Sorry,
how to get better.
I've jumped a little too far ahead.
To the fun parts yet. So I'm like, maybe I misheard. I thought she said Hotel 1. Maybe she actually said Hojo, like Howard Johnson's. So we stop at the Howard Johnson's. That's about 2 miles away. I
say Hojo in many years. I just want to point that out.
I was grasping at straws at this point because I had been up. So I had convention started at 9. I live 2.5 hours away, and I had to be there for setup. So I had to be there by 8. So it was an early morning for Dave, and I really hadn't slept the night before. So awesome. So I'm like, we stop there. We stop at the Howard Johnson's. Hey, do you have a reservation for my last name? I was about to say. No. Have you ever heard of Hotel 1? Also no. Okay. So we start trying to call the first hotel. No one's answering. We eventually drive back to said first hotel and like, please give us an address because we can't find this. To which the new person at the front desk is like, oh, it's 3.7 miles away. I don't have a ruler to check this out by. Give me an address. So
no, just drive 3.7 miles in any direction and you'll find it.
Give us an address. We go there, we get there, and it looks like the set from Breaking Bad. My favorite part was the bed that was in the window of one of the rooms. And at that point, I called Hotels.com and said, we're canceling this reservation. You need to not, like, we're not going to charge me. Oh, Ben, don't say there's a price mistake on Pokemon.
You know that all of us are going to go click it right now.
Except me.
It's $47 and includes the Pokeball Plus.
Ooh. Anyway,
sorry. I thought
that's okay. So I'm canceling this hotel. Fun fact: we had gotten the hotel comped by a casino because they couldn't get us a hotel, and just connections. So now I'm trying to figure out how this is going to impact the money that the hotel has given, or the casino has given us, to pay for said hotel with not getting my kneecaps broken.
The house always wins.
So we're all trying. I get back. I've now been up for about 24 hours. I get back to the convention, and I start talking to my guys, and I tell the convention organizers, "Hey, can we do Saturday and just like we'll leave Saturday, not come in Sunday? It's not. I don't want to ask my people to have to commute both days. It's unfair. Like this isn't their fault." Graciously, they offered, "Hey, if we can get you the same rate at one of the convention hotels, can we do that?" Awesome. Like, if you can do that, great. Come back later. He's like, "Hey, we got you a room, and also don't worry about paying for it. Convention's going to cover it." Thank you. And it's at Bailey's in Atlantic City. Cool. This is going to be awesome. It's like 8:30 now. We had started our adventure to check in at 4 p.m. So...
Atlantic City is lovely, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, and especially at night. Then they come back and say, "Actually, you know what? It's just easier. Why don't you stay at the Sheridan, which is attached to the convention center?" So I am super thankful for AnimeNext for giving us a room. It was awesome. I ended up having to drive home that night because I needed to do work. But my guys got to stay at the hotel. But yeah, this is how I learned to cancel a hotel on 4 hours of sleep and not lose my mind. So on a convention weekend with an extra 20,000 people. So, I wanted to hurt people this weekend. I also never wanted to go back to Atlantic City, but that's a normal feeling, I feel.
Yeah. I'm going there next week.
Oh, I got invited to another convention to run another Extra Life booth at in September or October, I forget when. So I have
politely declining.
I honestly, I don't think so. We don't go to Jersey enough. I can do that drive. I can do that drive in an hour and 40 minutes if I really, me and the Charger have an open road. So, but yeah, it was a heck of a weekend. But I mean, I got to play some. Very graciously, got sent a code for Blaze Blue cross tag battle.
Phatasma Extend.
Yeah.
Rolls off the tongue.
Also, everyone at the show really liked it. It was great to be able to play. Everyone was coming up and asking me about characters from Ruby and other things that I don't know. But I asked about Persona. I was like, yeah, I know that. So cool.
Sure.
That's a word, Persona.
I can name one of... they sent it Wednesday. I went online.
Are there Persona characters in that game?
There are.
Oh, really?
They were originally supposed to be DLC, and then there was some drama. And
okay.
Not to be. Anyway, I got it back on Wednesday. First night I went on at like 2 a.m. It turns out if you want to practice and get better at fighting games, maybe don't go on when the core audience is on.
At 2 a.m?
Only the core audience was on at 2 a.m. on launch night.
I mean, honestly, isn't the core audience always on?
Yeah, but I think it's easier if you go hey, you want to play a game at 6 o'clock in the afternoon or 8 o'clock at night. You might find a larger, let's say, more general.
That's when families are generally playing Blaze Blue or Blaz.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a whole. So
Son,
I mean,
hand me the control.
I started winning the next day.
Here's how you combo.
I just got my ass kicked several times.
Dun dun dun.
And then Shaq Fu also came out, and I got a free copy of Shaq Fu because I had bought NBA Playground back when it launched.
I completely forgot about that, and I was glad you reminded me.
So, yeah, that's
a game.
It's a game.
It's a really weird game.
Kind of overpriced, but it's a game.
Yeah. So no, it's not that. We want to talk about. It's weird to say that I feel it's overpriced, but I also played the demo for Way of Shishido on Switch, the sushi game.
Oh, okay.
Sushi Striker? No.
Yeah, Sushi Striker Way of the
Sushi. $50, right?
It's $50.
Ouch.
That's ridiculous.
Wait, for
Switch.
Wow.
Hold on. I have to go look at this now. Not that I don't believe you.
It is $49.99 to be.
But that seems excessive.
Exactly.
Yeah, even for a Switch game, that's excessive.
For I'm sure there's probably enough animation in it to justify like a full episode or something, but cut that production cost back and make this game cheaper, because I don't know if it's going to sell a whole lot at $50.
Right.
And I'm going to wait. And me and Ben have obviously been just showing off the decadence that is the games that hold up my house. So
load-bearing
$50. Wow.
Yeah, seriously.
Did you just check the price on your Switch, Mandy?
Yes.
She didn't believe Tiny.
It was so shocking that I had to go look.
It's not, and you should. It was surprise. I thought that game was going to be like a $20 game, and it
looked like 100%. It was. And that's a bad thing, but yeah.
Right.
So can somebody explain why Overcooked 2 is $10 more on Switch than the other platforms?
A lot of games are the Switch.
$10 more on Switch.
Right.
But are they, or are they just more expensive because they're launching after they've already been cheaper on, after they've come out on other consoles? I'm thinking like Wolfenstein 2 or Doom or those. Those are like $60 when you can get them for like 20.
I think it's new to the platform.
Is this a physical copy we're asking about, or digital?
Even the digital ones are like that, though. I'm waiting for the day when digital copies cost at least $10 less. And I'd buy everything digital.
It should once they burn retail, but I guess I'm just I can kind of justify it for the it's a lot harder to use. It's more expensive for the card than it is for a disc. But
yeah, I can see that.
That's about all you got.
So I do want to take a moment to complain about the fact that Switch doesn't have a cart. You can only buy one thing at a time.
Yes.
Oh, right.
I wanted to go bulk purchase $5-10 indie games, and I was I have to make each of them separately. I guess I'll wait.
Can you? Is there a web store for the Switch?
Oh,
no, you can't even even on Nintendo.com. If you log in and you can make a purchase, it's proceed to purchase right now. There's no cart, so I couldn't even digitally purchase them in bulk. So
although to be honest, the fact that you could even do that on Nintendo's website is actually pretty good for Nintendo.
I found out 2 months ago, if I get review keys in for the Switch, I can just enter them on the web interface.
Yes.
And then they'll just download them when I get home. I did not know that was a thing. And it works for 3DS. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to do, because I was at work and I was all right, I'll just buy all of these all at once, and then they'll load onto my Switch that's sitting at home on the dock, and I'll be all set. And then I'm I have to do it one at a time.
And doing it one at a time, you're thinking more about the money. It's 10,
well, the other thing too is
30.
I hate this idea of having to go and see individual small dollar purchases when I'd rather just have a bulk $50 purchase, because then I'll be I just bought one game, and then look and be actually I have 5. So
it's Band-Aid style.
Just buy eShop cards.
But like I said, Microsoft
pretty much.
The
the next time I go to a store, I'm just gonna be just give me one of these for $50 and problem solved.
I can see why Xbox 360 games are maybe still like that, but for Xbox One games, there's no cart. It's the same thing. I don't get it.
Right.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
That's because Microsoft has to, because it's unified on their store platform. I think it's probably pretty difficult.
That's one thing Sony gets right, amongst other things. But the store, you can add stuff to a cart.
Yeah, having a cart.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the Switch, Tiny, if you were looking for more of those Nintendo Switch chat headsets,
I'm not.
The Nintendo store in New York and Rockefeller Center has plenty of them.
I'm good. I couldn't fit the first one on my head, so
I think they remodeled that store the week after I was there. A couple years ago. He's going, all right.
Okay,
now. Make it look nicer.
Yeah, so if anybody needs that headset, because it's incredibly useful.
Well, okay, so there's a real interesting thing here, and it kind of goes into the E3 stuff. Fortnite has in-game audio or in-game chat on Switch.
Yep. Exactly.
So
it's going
problem solved.
Oh, it's going. See, actually, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not turned on yet. It's there, but they're it won't work until Thursday. Yeah. We're all literally a group of us playing earlier today. We're all I have my mic and headset plugged in. What's happening? Before we finally remembered that they said not until Thursday, and we all had to hop in our Discord channel. Yeah.
You're on a Nintendo platform, Mandy. Set expectations to low.
And the last thing I'll mention is actually still Switch related. Weird enough. I redeemed whatever the new Nintendo coins are. Like the coins you get for buying games.
Right.
The
So did
gold-
you get like
the gold?
Yeah,
like
the
25 cents off a
And
purchase
the
or something?
platinum.
No, I got $17. So I bought Hollow Knight for
I got
free.
$3.
Wow.
And then
$17. You must have bought a lot of stuff.
I own 24 physical Switch games.
That would be why.
And I still
Okay,
need
think
to
I'm
open
at
this
16,
Labo. So
yeah, you
I'm
got
not,
me
but
beat.
like, if you
I
do
think I have
all
like
of them,
3 physical games. I have a lot of digital.
Like I haven't
though.
even redeemed like my coins because I keep forgetting that you have to put the cart
you
in.
have to put the card in, then go to options, then go down to coin.
Yeah, like
Oh.
I think I've done
Yeah,
that like once.
I did that this afternoon. So, because I was like,
I don't think I've
oh,
done that
that's
at
weird.
all.
I have $7 or whatever already.
Thanks for reminding me. I'm doing it for Zelda right now.
Yeah, you should totally do. Like, it was. I mean, even if you only get a couple bucks off the next game you buy, like, hey.
But
I mean,
don't
to be
even
honest,
feel
the
like-
only reason my copy of Smash Brothers for the Wii U is open is because I opened it to use up my Nintendo points.
Like, that's all I
$60
wanted
well
from it.
spent.
So, well, I mean, it was more than 60 because you bought the one with the adapter in it. So,
Oh well, of course.
right. It's gonna be real interesting when they re-release those because those things were going like gold for a while.
Are they-
Yeah,
are
they
they-
were.
No, but they're I
expensive.
This
They're
third
third
parties
today
too.
they're third party cheap ones, so I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the price has come down a lot.
They
And,
cause
yeah,
fires, but nobody cares about that.
Well, they don't cause fires because I used one for the tournament we ran in Florida. Anyway,
At least it's not a Nyko dock that'll brick your Switch. So
Yeah, that's true.
I got one of those.
we're not giving those away. So. But anyway, Aaron, what about you, sir? Because I've
I'll
been
go
talking
real
a lot.
fast. Caught the movie Upgrade. It was pretty good. Anybody seen the trailer for it?
Upgrade.
Is
Which
this the one with like they're cyborgs or something?
Well, this guy gets into something happens to him, and then somebody offers him this little like PCB to put on his neck. And
Who's in this movie?
it's a guy who looks a lot. It's like bootleg Tom Hardy. You could tell like they wanted Tom Hardy, but they couldn't get him. So it's like this guy looks just like Tom Hardy. Take him. And it was actually pretty good. The trailer kind of sells it short, like it's just like dumb and.
It's
It's
a movie
not-
pass. It's a movie pass movie.
Yeah, it's not a cerebral film. Don't get me wrong, but it was quite enjoyable. Good action.
Ocean's 8's really good, by the way.
Oh, the oldest just saw that. She's on her way back. I might catch it with Movie Pass this weekend or sometime.
Logan Marshall Green is who leads this movie.
If you keep going to the right, it says AKA bootleg Tom Hardy. If you,
Right, but I'm trying to see. He was in Prometheus, but I think
never
he
saw
like,
that.
died.
Probably like an extra or something.
He dies super quick in Prometheus.
He was
I
the
want
key
to say.
grip from Prometheus.
It also says he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Oh, he was the shocker that Michael Keaton kills at the beginning of Homecoming.
So he was not Bokeem Woodbine. Interesting.
No, he wasn't. Who was the second shocker?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, yep. So, but he's the guy that Michael Keaton kills at the beginning of that movie.
Yeah, but it's pretty enjoyable. It's a Blumhouse movie, so then like my wife was kind of like, "Wow, this is kind of gory." I was like, "Yeah, it kind of is." So they definitely get a little bit of gore in there. But some of these kills are just like, ugh. Because it was just kind of like it was almost like watching The Last of Us 2, presentation. It was a lot of blood. I got
So there were just a bunch of guys cheering in the background while you were watching it.
in the theater. Yeah. there were.
Okay, just checking. I also totally bought Pokemon, My Friend Pikachu or whatever. So
The
You
price
would.
mistake.
Yeah.
If it was
Look-
Eevee, I would buy it.
can't you do both?
It's not.
No,
showing
the EV's not up yet on Amazon's site for sale.
Wow, Mandy, your Pokemon loyalty, like it's at a
Listen,
discount.
Eevee and its evolutions has a special place in my heart.
To Eevee or bust.
So I've just.
To be honest, I wasn't gonna even buy this game, but only because it's cheaper. I'm getting
Because you still have no interest in playing it, but it's cheaper.
I
So-
can show you
Therefore,
my.
it's
I
acceptable.
can show you my sealed copy of Pokemon. I don't know, whatever.
We believe
X
you. Trust me, we
and-
believe you.
I guess actually that is one more. I started replaying Pokemon Crystal because I apparently had it on my
Oh my
3DS.
god, Pokemon Crystal, a good choice.
So
Gold was.
I have sealed copies of Pokemon X and Pokemon Moon. I'm looking at right now.
not to burst this bubble, but Eevee is totally up there, and you could totally do the same price mistake.
Is it?
Yeah, you just have to do the drop down to change it to Eve.
There you go.
Pick me.
I thought you choose the Pokemon. They choose you. If I had it wrong all this time,
So,
is that...
Am I in the wrong place? It's saying
No, it's not. It's not available yet, Tiny.
It's not.
I think I think you're looking at the version that doesn't have the Pokeball.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at. Oh,
Yeah.
well, then maybe I didn't get the right one for Pikachu then.
If you used well.
Your link just brought me to Wario's Twitter. Like,
Oh, you know what? My link, you know what? It's already dead.
This makes
Let me go
great
cancel
They
content.
took it off the site.
yeah, this is making great. I'll cancel
This
this,
is great for
order.
live.
Well, Aaron's.
all the ways in which things go wrong.
You can have my copy.
Cancel. That's okay. Oh,
So anyway, I got a code in for Vampyr. I have not had a chance to play it though, but I really want to. I've heard so many mixed things.
Great
but
things about that.
I'm curious. I don't know. I haven't played Just Beats and Shapes. That's fantastic. Although I can't pass the first boss, but I will at some point.
that's the one we played at PAX East.
Yes, that is a really good game. I'm really enjoying that one. Runner 3, I got up to the end boss, but I didn't beat it. But I don't know. Runner 3 is fantastic. I love that game. It is just so much fun. Green tea. Let's see. Perils of Baking, kind of a weird platformer on PS4. Interesting.
Oh, I thought you were gonna like tell a story of how something went wrong while baking. Like, all right, this better be good.
No, it's not. It's not even that interesting. I'm sorry to set you up. Sorry, but I did check out Hot Pot Hero.
So now
the
you have,
restaurant?
Right?
now
Yeah.
you have a better concept of what Hot Pot is now.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I liked it a lot. The wife.
Oh, then we got to do Hot Pot.
Not as
Yes.
much, but it's funny. I didn't realize that it's in the same plaza as Honey Pig.
Oh yeah.
And I got food poisoning there some years ago, so my wife was very keen to point that out.
Honey Pig, Kung Fu Tea. There's a Thai place there, and Hot Pot Hero. Yeah, Hot Pot Hero is good.
It was good.
Actually, I haven't been, but I've heard good things about it.
Oh, so
It's
you
good.
haven't?
I haven't been.
I haven't been, but
If I have a craving for Hot Pot, I just make Hot Pot at home.
Gotcha.
I have the whole setup for it. So
I have the
I'm
fondue
a
set up, but I
little
don't have.
jealous.
But I mean, I guess I kind of do have a hot pot set up. If you
we
think
should
about
do
it.
it. We should
I'm
do it.
down.
I have enough of a setup actually to do it, like 2 setups. So
Can you do it over that giant wood burning thing we had in the back of your house the last time?
we could maybe.
the wood burning dryer or whatever.
I may or may not have a second one that I kickstarted that is coming soon.
Dun dun dun.
Of course.
Of course, you.
Of course.
You guys kickstart video games. I kickstart outdoor fireplaces.
I will say like cooking adventures.
We all have our thing, don't we?
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got one piece of feedback from Robbie1051. He says, "I just realized I want a GameEnthus T-shirt with the words Van Damme on the front, or Van Damme spelled like Jean-Claude Van Damme. That works as well. That could be arranged. I don't know. I every time you say that, I keep saying that could be arranged. Maybe one day we'll have T-shirts. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You gotta have all.
Maybe one day it'll happen.
Maybe one
You
day.
have
Just
all
magically.
the GameEnthus catchphrases, right? You gotta have Tiny's flag on the field. You need
GameEnthus money.
your GameEnthus money, or money well, money spent.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I did coin that.
You need to have you need to have all of those.
Yeah, it could happen. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But let's talk about why we're all really here. We're all really here to talk about E3. So, which press conference do we want to talk about first? Mandy, why don't you choose? What should we talk about? What do you want to talk about first?
Do we want to go in order, or do we want to like?
No,
I'd say go by your highlights. What's your favorite thing that got announced? What are you most excited about? I feel like I can tell by the number of exclamation marks. But
If it wasn't clear, my excitement, even though it was literally just a tease, and I know it's years and years away, was that Bethesda confirmed Elder Scrolls 6 is happening. I've been slightly worried because normally their cadence for how they time their games, switching back and forth between Elder Scrolls and Fallout, meant that we should have had another Elder Scrolls like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
or I
true.
guess I guess not 3 years ago. That would have been Fallout 4. So they would have already at least have announced 6, and we would have been getting it soon if we hadn't already. So I was sitting here going like, oh no. And then there's rumors of like a Fallout Online, aka Fallout 76, and then just like the way everything's gone towards, you know, these always online games and things like that. I was like, what if they never make another Elder Scrolls?
Skyrim on Alexa.
Oh my god. It's like Skyrim everywhere. And
Elder
so
Scrolls.
like,
There's a mobile game coming out too, right? In
Yes,
September.
Blades.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an RPG, but I was like, no, I really just want Elder Scrolls 6. Like, please. So I know it's still years away. I accept that. But they've confirmed it. I have faith they'll actually do it. It won't disappear into the ether and never be seen again.
Okay, Mandy, I'm curious though. So your Elder Scrolls fandom, does it extend, like, how long have you been into it? Like, did you come from like the PC games, Morrowind, Oblivion? When did you jump in?
Probably more Morrowind was like the first one I remember putting a lot of time into. And it was just like, it's funny because I was trying to have this conversation with a friend where it's like, I love Elder Scrolls, and yet I'm like very lukewarm about Fallout, and I don't know what it is that just like the fantastical setting is more engaging for me than like the post-apocalyptic, from Bethesda at least. And so it was one of those where I was like, I put a lot of time into Morrowind, I put a lot of time into Oblivion, I not quite as much into Skyrim, but I played it. I completed the main story quest, I did a variety of the side quests.
More than I did.
So like, just like from the experience, I remember being like, yeah, well, I still love playing these, and silly things happen, and you know, I make all the mistakes. I'm that person that like gets all the things. I carry everything and I collect everything because I want to go back into town and sell all of it. It's not because I want the items; it's because I want to go sell them. But then,
I must not leave anything behind.
Exactly. But then I get overburdened, and then I'm like, okay, well, I have to make a choice now.
That
I have to drop
annoys
something.
me, man.
And so I drop like all of the like less valuable things, but then I mark it so that I can run into town, sell everything, run back out, pick up all of the like little things that are only worth like 1 gold to run back into town and sell it.
Then you must have been excited when you were able to get your own house then.
Oh man, like the amount of just like chests and storage places I had everywhere. Like I would keep all these things being like, I'm gonna do something with them eventually. I never will.
That candelabra is gonna mean something.
I'm gonna decorate it. It's gonna be great. And instead, everything just like goes into a chest and never gets used. I never pull it out again. Nothing.
So basically, in Skyrim, you have your own backlog of stuff in Skyrim.
Yes. Ironically, I hoard in those games for no reason, because I'm like, well, I'll use it eventually. It'll be like, I'll craft something, or it'll be good for something.
It's like how I play like RPGs. Like I buy all of these like potions, and I never use the really good potions. I only use the crappy ones because I'm saving the good ones.
Good ones for when you need it, but then
I don't want to use them.
Well,
I'm
and
the same
you
way.
normally have
I never
so
want to
many...
use anything. I never want to run out of anything. I'm always afraid of if I use it, I'll run out of it. I don't know.
Yes, that's me. I'm like, okay. Like, all right, I'm going to have 50 regular potions and, 10 high potions. But I'm never going to use the high potions because I'm saving them in case I need them. And I'll just keep using the... Like, I could just use 1 high potion. It'd be more effective than using 10 of the regular potions. But I'm still going to use 10 regular potions because I might need those high potions later.
Do you ever worry that like they're going to run out of quests? I mean, they have Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, they've been doing Elder Scrolls for many years. Like, is there a point where like people just start pointing out like this is the same quest from like Morrowind or the older ones, or just can they run out of ideas?
I don't know, because I still feel like the one that always sticks out to me in Skyrim is this side quest where you like meet somebody and then the two of you start drinking and you get blackout drunk, and then when you wake up you're like, my stuff is gone, and so you're like trying to follow all of your drunken shenanigans backwards by how upset the villagers are with you to figure out like what happened, because you don't remember because you got blackout drunk. And like I remember playing that, like running into it for the first time in Skyrim and being
really
like,
interesting.
Why has this never appeared before? And it's really funny where like you got yelled at by one villager because you were like terrorizing their goats, and then you got yelled at by somebody else because you like stole their drapes and ran around with them, and like ridiculous things like that. And the whole time I'm going like, I feel like this should have appeared before, but if it did in either of the previous games, saying that I started into more of it, I have no memory of it.
That's one of the more interesting quests that I never counted.
You never found that one? It's so great.
That sounds really
good
though.
It sounds familiar, but I haven't played Skyrim kind of since it launched on the PC, so it's been a long time.
And I'm gonna throw this out here, Aaron. How much did you play Skyrim?
10, 12 hours maybe.
That is more.
That is
way more. That is more than I would have thought you would.
I was thinking like 10 to 12 minutes.
Oh.
I was gonna give you 2 hours.
I'm a fan. Like I beat Fallout 3. I beat all the DLC. I mean, I like.
So you are the other side. You like the post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I like Fallout 3 because it was in.
You don't
I
have
like
to
Fallout
aim.
3 because it was in DC.
Right. That's what I was wondering too. If like
that
like that's why like the Division 2, like I would probably not normally play that game, but because it's set in DC, like it's kind of cool. Like like I recognize like the video that opened in the U.S. Botanic Garden. I was like, I go there every year, so like I knew like exactly where it was. Like it's just very interesting when it does an area that you are very intimately familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since Mandy brought up Elder Scrolls, why don't we just talk about Bethesda in general? Is there anything else that we want to highlight from that?
I'm really worried about Fallout 76.
Why?
I feel like for a game that is releasing in November, there is really not a lot of information in terms of what exactly that game is. In terms of, I mean, it's persistent, online, multiplayer. You can play solo. You can nuke your friends or your enemies. It uses the same engine, it looks like, as Fallout 4.
Right.
4 times the size, but like how, like what's, I don't really know what's the end game. Like what's progression look like in that game? Like I'm really struggling to, I'm thinking Fallout games or Elder Scrolls games or a lot of these Bethesda games are story driven games, and I don't really know where this game is going from a story perspective. You know what I mean? And so that's my main concern, especially because this game is coming out, in 5 months. And if this game was coming out in 2019, I actually would not be as worried because they have time to do that. But for me, I'm concerned that they just I don't know how much is there, how much meat is there from a story perspective, and if there's not going to be, I don't know if that I don't know, quite frankly, if I trust Todd Howard enough that I want to buy this game or not.
Okay, Ben, here's the thing. It's 4 times the size of Fallout 4, so that means that mountain over there, you can climb it. It'll take you 4 times as long to
become
get
Breath
there.
of the Wild. You lose like hours getting lost wandering the environment. Do you think it's because, and this is a very vague question, I think, is that in the past when they introduce a Fallout, because it is a single player experience, most of their introduction is telling you the setting and the story and kind of what you're working towards to an extent. Whereas because this is a bit of a different beast being an online multiplayer game, what they really focused on during the press conference was telling us why it was going to work, how the mechanics were going to work, what the world was going to be like playing with other people, because those are things that as fans of Fallout you aren't familiar with. And I think that if they told like, okay, here's the location and here's the story, well, they did tell that sort of, but if they gave you stuff you would typically have heard in a Fallout announcement, everybody would have come to the end and been like, okay, well, you said it was online, but what does that mean? What does that look like? How is it going to work? So I feel like they chose what was probably going to be the bigger question because it's atypical from the series. And I'm hoping that over the next couple weeks to couple months, they're going to fill in these gaps that you have, because they're like, okay, well, now that we've introduced them to how this is going to be different, let's tell them about.
I guess I feel they could have done both. That especially, I think this kind of goes back to the point that it's coming out in 5 months, right? That in 5 months, that's not a lot of dev time. If that this stuff should already be there, so it's not that there shouldn't be anything to really hide, because all of that stuff should be pretty far along in the dev process. And so I'm just concerned from a content perspective, like is this a lot of people and a lot of people really like or dislike Sea of Thieves, right? Because of what they perceive as kind of the lack of content there, right? Mm-hmm. Is this going to be a great engine and a great, setup, great, functional game, but without a lot of content, or which is not what Bethesda has traditionally done for this franchise or for a lot of their games. So I don't know. I just have a lot of concerns about it. I have the game pre-ordered just because the helmet. So
that's like $150, right?
It's like $200.
I'm looking at my Pit Boy right now.
Yeah, so I got my Pip-Boy in the corner as well, and so that the helmet's pretty cool. So,
but I mean, so let me try to change the visual on this. If they said they started working on this 4 months after Fallout 4 shipped, so that's January 2016, roughly. So, I mean, they have an engine that they're modifying, but they've already built out a pipeline for how to develop. And I mean, 2 years of content development is a rather large amount of content. Like,
well, I mean, I think it's only
content
development because they have to do the multiplayer thing. That's a pretty big task.
I wonder how similar this is.
Well, they have to build the infrastructure. They have to have the servers set. Depending, are they running the same engine?
Right, but it
looks like the same engine.
It looks like it's because from the Danny O'Dwyer thing, it says they started out as this Fallout 4 is online.
Oh, I haven't seen the no-clip thing yet.
A tech team and a content team are two different parts of your development cycle. So, like, you're not going to have your artists trying to figure out how your servers are going to communicate because, like, they're essentially pitching you're never going to see a server interface. So, like, your character's information will transition across whatever instance you're playing in. Okay, cool. Right. So, like, I mean, I think we just don't know how you interface with that story right now, and that seems to be the question.
Yeah, we don't know what the content is going to be, right? Is it PvP focused, PvE focused? Is it, are there raids? Are there, you know what I mean? Like, what are we looking at from a content perspective?
It got announced after the thing that there was no PvP at launch.
Not like formal PvP. It's just going to be running into people in the world.
I mean, if anything,
but I don't think you like.
They did enough for you to pre-order this thing, so I think that they succeeded.
Well,
pre-ordering so that you get the accessory.
For the helmet.
My bar
you never
is
have to open the game
for that. Like, let's not. You've seen what I have in my house. It's the bar is pretty low to pre-order something.
That's true. All right, let's shift over to Wolfenstein 2, the Youngblood reveal. So these are, I have not completed the last Wolfenstein, but these are BJ's daughters, I believe, twin daughters.
Yes.
So that's an interesting twist.
Set in the 80s, so 11 years at least after.
Been a few years. I think it's exciting. So it's retailing at $30. So it's this weird like standalone expansion that's become more popular in the last like year and a half.
Like Old Blood, wasn't Old Blood that way?
I think. So.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing, like Death of the Outsider with Dishonored 2 and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Like, these are all, they fit within the universe, but they're like these, kind of capsule games that are $30. I don't know. I think it's exciting, from my perspective, anytime that we get to see more, female protagonists and even antagonists to some extent is exciting. And I think it's interesting considering how they've progressed that timeline from New Order to New Colossus, to have them do another time jump into, into this, going like, okay, well now we're going to be in the 80s. It's like, let's see what you do now.
And co-op, right? So
yeah, and co-op is exciting too, because I feel like shenanigans will abound.
Yeah, no, it looks interesting.
The only thing that concerns me is that they might treat this as a spin-off. And because they always announce the Wolfenstein games as a trilogy, and we have not hit a certain mecha dictator yet that needs to show up, and it seems like if they're going to use this as a stopgap, that would be concerning because that means they feel like this might be a throwaway concept, and that seems odd to me because if you go to the 80s with BJ, he's supposed to be an older and his daughters are supposed to take over. And that's good. So does that mean they're fighting Mecha Hitler? Or are they going to do what they've done in the past with some of the Wolfenstein stuff from like 3D to Spear of Long Inus and all that, where, our expansion didn't actually count as canon. And
when did the second Wolfenstein take place? I mean, like what year was it supposed to be?
Late 60s, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, New Colossus would have been.
Because it would have been moonshot for if the U.S. hadn't been blown to hell.
Okay, I'm thinking like, how'd you get to the 80s? I was thinking like the 40s or something, but okay.
No, it started in the 40s.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the first one.
The first one does, and then BJ gets the shrapnel in his head, and he watches time go by, and then
it's been like
I did do that.
They said it's like 10 plus years, right?
Right. So I think it's 69 is when Colossus ends, and I think it's the 80s when the girls show up, and it's just again it's the id stuff. They did this where they said like, hey, our expansion doesn't count. And if they redo that again so that they can be like, and hey, we have Wolfenstein 3. BJ's here to kick Hitler in the testes. It's gonna be I know. My tongue got all twisted. Like it's just I'm gonna be like, you seem like you're wasting an opportunity that you already built this. Like this seems like a cool trailer. I don't understand why you would do this, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I guess it'll be interesting because I look at it and go like, with the way the landscape is now, I see it being more like they said, hey, we came up with this cool story that we'd really like to tell, and we think that it'll be compelling enough to make sales, but maybe it's not a full $60 game. You know, maybe this is like a side story or something. And so they felt it was compelling and significant enough from a potential sales point to actually do it. You can buy a physical copy. It's going to be $30. It's not like it's an actual, DLC that's $10 via the network. So I kind of look at it the opposite way, where I'm like, even if it's like a stopgap while they continue working on the next game, I'm figuring it's one of those where it's like, we really want to tell this story.
And I hope so. It's just, that's the part where it's like, then let's make this Wolfenstein 3 and expand it.
But what if they already have Wolfenstein 3 planned, and this is their step to get there?
So that's an interesting question, because I think we're going to find that the reason that BJ's daughters are doing this is because BJ and his wife's name is escaping me right now, are no longer as active. Anna?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, if you talk about like their age and their injury, in his case, life and stuff. Well,
I mean, he got that brand new body.
Yeah. So spoilers.
Right. Like, so it's that's what Aaron has no idea what we're talking about, so it's fine.
There's guns in Wolfenstein? Like, spoilers. Like,
you didn't hear the thing we just said then. Well, and this is what I would think is that, like, actually for me, ideally, this is their setup. That this is their stopgap to the next one. And the reason they did it this way is they wanted to tell the story of how the girls come into, like, this
started here and then
like how they joined the fight, I guess, and that lays the groundwork for them then being the main protagonist continuing the fight.
I would be
with the third game, because then it's like now you've been introduced to them.
Well, they just continue with them and then they fight Mecha Hitler.
I think that's what we're saying. So I hope they do, but I don't have a whole lot of faith. So.
I mean,
so they've done it.
Taking it one game at a time here.
Exactly. I'm just worried they've done it before. On the other hand, they also announced a VR version of Wolfenstein, where you hack robots and blow up Paris, I believe. So it's like Cyber Pilot. Like you get into the big mech, whatever. So yeah.
Okay. So why don't we move over to Square Enix? I see that you have Shadow of the Tomb Raider on your list here, man. Let's talk about some Square Enix.
We can talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 in a second.
If we have to.
I have just loved we'll only talk about one comment and then we'll
three conferences they were at. It was at. We should probably talk about it.
Okay. Well, but for me, okay, so I love I loved the Tomb Raider reboots. I feel like Crystal Dynamics did a really good job bringing in Tomb Raider in 2013. They've kind of like created what I always envisioned Tomb Raider to have been, which is a bit more aspirational for, women than necessarily the like booty shorts and weird polygon boobs. That was the less graphical days. So for me, I was super excited when they announced. But yeah. I mean, it could be worse. That's probably not the best way to phrase that. But to know that they had greenlit a third game, especially considering that the first Tomb Raider, I think when it, like, the initial sales numbers came out, initially said like, oh, this was, it didn't perform to the standards we wanted.
Only 6 million, only.
Yeah.
Really?
Like,
It was reviewed very well, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I love
from
it.
a financial standpoint, I think they wanted it to sell more. And so I think that we got Rise of the Tomb Raider because of the time exclusive deal with Xbox, which probably they paid a hefty sum, which helped fund the development. And then I think Rise of the Tomb Raider has done well enough, both from critical review and I don't have numbers, but from a sales standpoint, that they were willing to greenlight a third game. And it's interesting for me each story, because I feel like they give a little more depth to the character of Lara Croft and kind of like are laying out how she kind of picks up a lot of the skills that make her become into what we were used to seeing from
the deadliest warrior
for much of the older games.
I mean,
so I don't know. For me, it was like and visually they do a really good job. So like their choice of key art image, with her with the fires in the background, and like how they kept showing that was kind of a key visual element throughout the trailer. It was just like, yes, can you just give this to me now, please?
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed the series. I think they're really good. I mean, I think they've out Uncharted. I think it's I think it's a lot better series
the
than
combat. It's more meaningful. It seems like. It's more satisfying.
More than just the combat, I think it's the story. I think it's the environment design. I've enjoyed all of them much more than the recent Uncharted games.
And
them.
Valid. The environment, like traversing, and I will say that I feel like they learned really well from one to the next. So like in the first reboot, 2013, it felt really like the extra tombs and stuff were just kind of there, and they didn't really have value.
Right, yeah, they integrated it a lot better.
Yeah, like the second one was like, okay, no, they have value to me. They're actually these really kind of compelling puzzles, and so it's like so each time I feel like they've taken the criticisms and the feedback and maybe the things they didn't have time to build or they hadn't thought about integrating in that way, and they put it in. So now I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see what they make better for the next one.
The only thing that I wish that they would do is, so this is a spoiler for the very first one, is if you remember the end of the first game, where there's the cutscene where she gets the second pistol and she's using two pistols at once.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I was so hoping in the second game that there would be some option to use two pistols.
Oh yeah, like dual wield.
Yeah, and they didn't put it in, and I was so disappointed. And it might detract a little bit from kind of their character development and how they view her, but I would just love to have like some kind of situation
they'll even just
where I
put
could
you
use
through
two
one
pistols.
sequence that lets you carry two. It's not even a cutscene. You get to play through a single scene.
Exactly.
I'm just glad that the second game had the confidence to say, hey, this is a really good single-player game, no multiplayer. Because multiplayer in the first one was kind of...
I didn't even play
was there.
I don't think I even played the multiplayer.
I was going to say I didn't remember
That's probably the reason
I didn't recall that it had
it forward. But it didn't need it. It could stand up on its own. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. And I'm glad that they didn't do all of the first game, those kills, the horrific ways they would kill her were just...
Oh my god!
Why?
What was the time where you're like you fell and you were in the river and you were going down?
you're going down the rapids
yourself over and over.
Oh my god! And like the number of you felt and like I mean like I get it. They're trying to create this sense of urgency. Like you are trying. You decide whether she lives or dies. Like you have to really truly think about like she has to survive. But man, some of those. I think there was one where like a boulder could fall on you, and like every time I'd be like, no, what's happening?
Right.
No, those branches. And you're going down the rope, and those branches and the trees. It's just like, this is gratuitous. Like we don't need okay, she's dead already. Okay, but yeah. All right. What else? The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. That's gonna be free, and it's in the same world as Life is Strange.
Yeah, it'll connect to Life is Strange 2 somehow.
Interesting.
I haven't played Life is Strange, so.
Really?
Oh,
you need to play this game.
Here's the
thing, everybody. I would rather watch somebody else play it because every time that I see the mechanics, I'm like, that's just not a compelling game experience for me. I don't really play a lot of games with that.
Right. I mean, it's a visual novel.
Hella a lot, because if you use the word hella, this game will be right up your alley. Right now.
I need to be that's a California thing, right? I need to be more California.
It's a great story. The first one.
I mean, Washington State, I guess.
Yeah, it's a California thing via Paris,
Portland.
France. Yes, yeah, they were in the that. Well, no, she moves to Seattle, but they're
so
in
like
a small
West
town.
Coast. We're gonna say it's West Coast.
Yeah,
Pacific
it's
Northwest.
Pacific
Northwest.
Northwest. So
Okay.
that's that. But like it's oh, I really like this game. Ooh. Anyway, we will see. What, this comes out the 26th?
Yep.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah.
It's free.
It's pretty good.
So,
Just Cause 4. I never really got into the Just Cause games. I get why people like them. I just never really.
And that got spoiled because Steam pre-order went up early.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah. Well, this is like what was Bethesda? All of our
Walmart?
friends at Walmart Canada.
Yes. Oh, that was such.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
Fun.
This salt was thrown.
Our friends
was
at a
some
large
bitterness.
retailer that can't keep secrets. But I mean, I they also took jabs at themselves. We already talked about it, but like the Alexa.
I'll give them
Skyrim.
credit. The Alexa, and apparently that's legit, and it's like super entertaining. So I don't have an Alexa, so I can't try it. But like I could appreciate that. I was literally like sitting at my computer going like, Bethesda is trolling us right now. This is amazing. It's like being at Konami and they're showing Metal Gear Solid and Snake's wandering around in a box. Like, I'll give them credit. Okay, sorry. Back to.
No, you're right.
I was in the audience the one time when they showed what was it, Metal Gear Solid 5? Was that the one where at the very very end of the
guy
trailer?
walks. Yeah.
Like, I think it was like Microsoft stage or something. They were like him in a box, and it's just moving across the stage, and everybody around us is like, "What the hell is happening?" Like they're trolling us. I'm sorry. Back to Square Enix.
Nah, it's fine.
I mean, the only other stuff, they had the Quiet Man, which was very confusing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was FMV, and then it wasn't FMV, and then it was FMV again.
Yeah, that's kind of like a. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
I was interested to see, what is it? Is it Babylon's Fall?
Babylon's Fall.
Yeah,
That's Platinum, right?
Yeah, from Platinum. So I mean, like, I look at them and go, like, they did Bayonetta, they did Vanquish, they did Nier Automata.
Name dropping.
Well, I look at them and go, like, okay, like, I'm interested to see what they do now.
Agreed.
Kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks interesting. I mean, we'll see. You know, it's still too early to.
Yeah, it's like. That's like 2 years away, but.
Right. Well, they say 2019, but it's really probably 2020. Right, like, I mean, that's the thing. Unless it's like Q1 2019, like the rest of that stuff is like, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, aside from that, just small stuff like, hey, Monster Hunter is going to be in Final Fantasy 14, right?
Or no, I think Final Fantasy 14 will be in Monster Hunter World. I think
that will not get me to.
I thought it was the other way. I thought it was in the MMO. Because why would Square Enix feature Capcom?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, it's not important. And Octopath, which comes out in like what, a month?
Yeah, they're doing
demo
a second.
Coming soon, right?
Yeah, they're doing another demo later this week. I think maybe the 15th.
14th or 15th
is gonna drop.
Oh.
All right. A shout out to everybody in the chat: Keon, Game Vet, Robbie 1051, and Game Vet just mentioned Battletoads. So you guys want to
let's talk about Microsoft.
Let's go to Microsoft.
50 new games, 14 exclusives, another number I don't remember.
Exclusives.
Wait. Are we
Doesn't
we
matter.
say? I was about to say, like, when we say exclusives, do we mean like legit exclusives, or where they're like, we have a console launch exclusive?
Yeah, Microsoft
that's
has
true.
a very loose definition of world. It might have been a world exclusive trailer.
World exclusive.
Well, they did world premieres. Well, and I love that they had to use terminology that confuses people, and they've been doing this since last year.
Oh, yeah.
Of like console launch exclusive, aka a timed exclusive on console. Like you got it for 30 days or 3 months. It's also coming out to Steam.
Well, that's always going to be Microsoft's problem because all of their stuff's coming to PC. Like
it's all coming out in 2020 too.
Halo 6 is going to be on PC. They show.
Okay, is Halo 6 and Halo
Infinite
the same thing?
So I've seen people refer to it as Halo 6 Infinite, and that's something to do with what's on the show floor. So I don't know.
Well,
Okay,
I think the latest rumor is that it's going to release in 2 parts. That the single player will come out first, and then the multiplayer will come out later.
In 2019.
Yeah, so single player in 2019, multiplayer potentially in 2020.
2020.
That said, I saw it pop up, and I haven't actually found the link to confirm this, but I believe that around the Halo 5 launch, 343 actually said something about how they intended for future games to not be numbered.
Oh, okay.
That's
because it was
best.
First off, because very few people can be Final Fantasy, where each one has a number, but it's a totally different game.
Right.
And second, and that was the whole thing of why I had the subtitle, because it was Halo 5 Guardians. I think they originally intended it to be Halo Guardians.
Oh,
and,
right. Yeah,
but then, for whatever reason, they had to have the 5. So my best guess is that this is Halo 6, and they've just made the full transition to dropping the number out of the title.
That makes sense.
But I haven't actually found that link. It's from like a blog post right after 5 came out. So,
like, the thing that doesn't make sense is splitting up multiplayer and single player. Like,
if you're not done yet, why launch it then? Or at least do a beta or something.
Like, multiplayer is such a big component of that game.
I think they're going to force us to get into the narrative, because I just stopped caring after 3.
I don't know any of the narrative, to be quite honest.
Let's be honest. Like, for me, Master Chief's story should have just been done after 3. Like
what she said.
Cortana's going rampant, and we have to save her and get her Dr. Halsey's memory engrams and blah 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 blah. I've read the books.
I didn't even play 5. Well, that's the thing. Okay, so the books thing. The books, though, like, not the later books, but in the initial up through about like probably Halo 4, Halo, I envision a bit like being a portion of Star Wars, where you have this very long history of lore you've created in this universe. You have a lot of different stories you can tell, and they just can't let go of the one story that involves Master Chief.
Or the same 4 enemies over and over again.
Yeah, like, whereas, when you look at Star Wars games, like a lot of the Star Wars games, you have ones happening thousands of years apart. But like, you could have told the First Contact War, you could have, there's so many other things. You could have told the story of how Master Chief becomes Master Chief, The
problem with that, though, is that they tried, like, both Reach and ODST were departures from the Master Chief, let's say, core story, and they are the worst selling Halo games. Like,
you're not wrong, but also, like, Reach was like, if they tried to tell one of the 2 concurrent stories happening in the Fall of Reach book, I felt like it would have been way more compelling.
Yes.
Because they had the storytelling of what the other Spartans were doing, and then they had the storytelling of what Master Chief was doing. And I feel like those 2 separate stories would have been more interesting, but their choice to do, like, this middle line that wasn't actually related to the book at all just didn't feel like a very compelling story. And ODST also tried a very different, like, mechanic for their storytelling, which I actually thought was really neat.
It was fresh. It was something different. I really appreciated it at the time. I don't know how it is going back to it, though.
It's on the Master Chief Collection. And if you had the Master Chief Collection at launch, you got it for free.
I did get it for free because I demanded it.
And it's also coming to Game... I guess Master Chief Collection is coming to Game Pass, too, I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was already there. Or was
no, not yet.
No, coming too. So yeah, Infinite. Okay. Who was entertained by the Gears Pop?
Yo, let's talk about the game of the show, Gears Pop.
So when it first started playing, so a group of us were in a Discord voice channel chatting while we were watching the stream. I'm like, is this going to be a Lego Gears of War? Like, I thought they were going to do like a Lego style.
Lego
and then
Blood.
And
Doesn't Lego have
like,
a policy of not doing anything with mature rated properties or something?
Right, but that's why they made that. Well, it never got released, but the Halo Mega Bloks game.
Yeah.
That you can go look some fun YouTube footage up. But yeah, like this is just Microsoft just full circle now. We have now gone to Funko Pops. We're gonna release it on your phone.
But Gears 5, I really enjoy Gears 4, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of those things wrap up. Although what the Gears 5 announcement trailer focused on was not the loose end. It didn't mention one of the loose ends from 4, which was like the whole thing with that politician lady and all the other stuff. It's going on.
Was it her mom that was at the end of that you were finding?
Yes.
So, like, they're doing... The story was, like, they were roundabout way touching on the giant loose end that was the end of 4.
The real loose end. The other one was just kind of there as a backup.
Yeah, so I think, like, 5... I'm excited for 5.
But, like, Aaron, I guess they have to touch on it, because somehow Mr. Phoenix now has a higher commission in the God, what was the Gears? I don't remember what the hell the military thing is, but like when he tries to pull a rank and she's like, deaf you. So like I think they have to integrate at some point.
When is that game coming out?
They said
2019.
So they're going to release Gears and Halo in the same year.
Nah. Honestly, like I feel like that's not going to happen.
Well, they're releasing the Halo campaign in 2019.
Maybe. Well, that's the rumor. Keep in mind, they didn't put any date on the trailer, like not even a year. So this is people speculating. And I feel like the likelihood of them putting Halo up against Gears is pretty low, since they did at least put a year on Gears. I expect Gears for holiday 2019. It's going to be
a date on Halo?
No, there was nothing.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to expect Gears for holiday 2019. And even though the rumors are saying maybe single player, I feel like probably Halo's more than likely.
It might be a launch game for Microsoft's new console.
Which
they're now saying 2020 is supposedly the rumers.
And it's
for the console,
a family of hardware apparently.
It wouldn't. I mean, like think about it. This is so a couple things here. One, this is the 6th holiday season for the consoles.
Right.
So it makes sense. If they launched in 2020, that would have been the 8th holiday season.
Yep.
Second, if you remember, or I don't know if you guys saw might have been a couple weeks or a couple months ago, there were all these quotes from a Sony investors meeting that everybody blew out of proportion and put
right.
They put clickbaity headlines on that was basically and Sony
the end of the console generation.
Yeah, but if you actually read the comment,
retired.
Right.
They were saying we now no longer expect the same percentage gain of hardware
sales. Yes, exactly. Sales
it's
going to plateau. Yeah.
Sales of console are going to plateau. They'll continue to make larger amounts off of software. If you look at some of the publishers that do public statements, like Ubisoft and some of the others, digital is making up a significantly bigger part of their sales. So I'm expecting, especially considering the lineup that we have of games that either don't yet have a release date or that are like iffily put in 2019, that at the earliest we might see consoles launching in 2020, depending on what else they have in their development cycles and depending on the jump of hardware to the next ones. Like they might end up sliding it 1 year into 2021 just because they might say, hey, we're going to make a big enough hardware jump in tech that we can't feasibly do a 4-console release like we did across the 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One.
Well, there's also a little bit of, I would say, kind of corporate signaling here in that,
they're in cahoots?
No, but you kind of want, if you're Microsoft, if you signal a little bit in terms of when you might be releasing a console, right, or that it's upcoming, like it forces kind of your competition to react to it and think about, maybe Sony's timeline is longer. Maybe Sony was like thinking maybe 2021.
Right.
And
you don't let them recreate a 2005 situation where the
Xbox let's not be like the PS3.
Right. Yeah. So it would be interesting. You know what I mean? Phil Spencer, said they were working on, the new consoles, right? And so.
Yeah, they're always working on that.
No, I know. But I think that's a little right, and everybody knows that they're working on it. But I think it's a little bit of kind of corporate signaling in terms of, hey, we might have something coming out sooner, so and to kind of maybe upset some of the plans that Sony might have.
Well, keep in mind too, like this is something that we don't usually say much about because it seems like it's so consumer facing, but E3 is still a very heavy show from an industry standpoint. So there's a lot of investors watching to understand not just what the pipeline is looking like for the company, but also how the fans are reacting to it. And I think that there's also some degree of like
battle royale games and only battle royale games.
Don't you know? But keeping in mind too that like when you look at companies like Microsoft at this point in time, like they kind of got outed by EA during all of the investor conversations about what their hardware sales were.
Yep.
So they're that makes them look from an investor standpoint like they're in a pretty weak position. So there's some degree of probably dropping things in as well that have less to do about consumers, even though we're all going to take it like, oh, this is about us. Right. It has more to do with how it appears to all of their outside investors, their shareholders, and to the companies that are weighing. I mean, if you look at like the Square Enix press conference, I'd say half of the titles that they put up only listed PS4 and PC or Steam as releases. So they're, for whatever reason, making a choice to not put those titles on Xbox. You know, and look at that and you go like, you're so used to seeing so many games be on all the platforms, and that if it's not being touted as an exclusive by Sony, you're like, whoa, what was their decision choice here to decide that it wasn't worth going to Xbox as well?
Can everybody hear that?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, is it's coming to PC, too. Like, if it was just a Sony exclusive, then I would be like, all right, you know, Sony's paying money, but they're not even saying, like, timed exclusive or anything. It's literally the end of the trailer is PlayStation, Steam.
Right, but it's funny.
For, like, a lot of things, though.
I'm going back, and, like, I remember at the time when we were watching, like, yeah, that seemed, but, like, is it just the Quiet Man and the Babylon game that are that? Because, like...
I don't remember. I honestly was trying to find like a list.
Yeah, like I'm looking like Just Cause 4 is coming to Xbox. The awesome Captain Spirit and Tomb Raider. So like those are, I guess maybe it was. I felt like it was a bigger list than that, but they only featured like 8 games in that.
Yeah, I don't have a list, so I'm just saying. But it stuck out to me that you would see one that lists all 3 platforms. I'm sorry, everything except for Switch for obvious reasons. And then suddenly there'd be one without. And it's like,
no, you're right.
That's not a developer that typically only makes for PlayStation. So why is Xbox not here?
Well, I mean, no, Square Enix in the past has done a lot of PlayStation only stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
they have. They've also like moved away from that. Outside of like specific exclusives. And I'm thinking more of I'm totally blanking right now, but they're also a publisher. So like none of the games, this is me not having a list, so I might just be making all of this up. None of the games that didn't have Xbox on it stuck out to me as being like, oh, that's a developer that Square Enix is publishing that typically only works with Sony. Yeah, but I don't have the list in front of me, so I'm sorry.
It was.
I just thought it was like it stuck out to me.
It was Babylon and it was The Quiet Man.
Okay, were the two that definitely didn't?
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, Platinum's released on Xbox, so I have no idea what the hell The Quiet Man is. So
I don't think they know what that is either.
So like, it's weird. I guess the other thing that Square Enix signals that way is the Nier Automata release for Xbox is only going to be digital.
Well, and the other thing too, and actually, jumping into our next topic that somebody doesn't want to talk about, Kingdom Hearts 3. The fact that they're doing that package, it's the pre-order and then the other games, right? The other HD games is only going to be on PlayStation. Now, I will caveat this that I don't know what their original agreements were with Sony.
For those other games, because they might have in the original contracts said this and any derivatives of this storytelling for Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 cannot be on any other platform but PlayStation or a Sony platform. So it's possible that even the HD like remix or whatever they all are called, because it's so confusing, still count towards that because they're retellings of some of the original stories. So you're saying maybe they might come out on Vita?
I mean, they're not doing Vita anymore, are they? I don't know. Like, I'm not in Sony. I don't work at Sony, so I have no clue of their contracts. But I thought it was interesting because I was like,
mentioned PS4, so I mean PSVR, so that's dead too. It's official. It's dead.
It's official. Only PS4. That's all that exists.
Not even the Pro.
But yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. Because like it came up where people were like, are they ever going to release all of these like remixes so we can basically replay 1 and 2 without having to actually go back and replay 1 and 2 on Xbox? And we're all going like, that's a bit surprising. You're right. Like trying to figure it out. So they might just be because of old contracts that they're not coming to Xbox.
Right. Yeah. That would.
But I think it's interesting that they're putting out that special bundle. If I didn't already own 1.5 and 2.5 HD remix.
What about
whatever.
352 over 26 times 4 divided by heart?
That's in the 2 point. That's in the 2.
Yeah, Dream Drop just.
Yeah, that's in the 2.8.
Which was
Okay,
I'm sorry,
can I just ask, like, who came up with these naming conventions? Because I'm always so confused.
Square Enix.
People who are high.
And I'm like, what am I like? How do I figure out if I just want to replay 1 and 2 right before 3 comes out? But yeah, so I thought it was interesting, you know,
the
that
most expensive option.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they were putting that out, but it was only going to be on PS4.
Actually, I guess that also is the same thing. Kingdom Hearts isn't coming to PC either. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by that.
Is it? Because Square has been making.
Maybe it'll come later, just like Final Fantasy 15 did, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like they've been making a push.
Well, it was interesting to see like Final Fantasy and to see Kingdom Hearts go multi-platform, but then to see like these instances where it's like it's only kind of multi-platform.
Yeah. But on the other hand, a lot of Pixar.
Oh my god, all Pixar.
A lot of Disney animation.
This is what happens when you have a really big gap between Game 2 and Game 3. Is suddenly you have all these new properties that you're like, crap, we have to fit this in somehow. That's really why it took so long. Because Disney said, well, you need to add each of these new properties as we put out a movie, and then it took so long for them to develop it that more and more movies came out. I'm just making this up.
Hey, Wreck-It Ralph's in there.
The price of gummy parts went up. There's all types of reasons. It's a rich tapestry. Oh, and Robbie 1051 was surprised that I finished Gears of War 4, but because I'm me. But yes, I did finish Gears of War 4. So.
It was a good game.
I still haven't finished Gears 4 yet.
I actually want to replay it now because they announced Gears 5. I want to be like, I want to refresh.
I'd like to finish it.
It was
on PC.
I have it on PC and.
I guess it's already Play Anywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Play Anywhere.
I guess I do have it. I was gonna say I want to play it, but I just gave Justin my copy. But I guess I do have it on PC.
Yeah, I have.
Well, like I also want to replay it because when I played it originally, I was on my old PC. I just rebuilt my computer, like 2 months ago, and it was the build I'd been on for like 6 years with only GPU upgrades. So I'm like, it'll be so much prettier now.
Well, I know we just kind of left the Kingdom Hearts stuff with GameEnthus. Did the Pirates World graphics change throw you off? Yes, for me it did. Yes. I was like, okay, I know this is that game, but it looks so brown.
Like, it was also weird because they had all these like, you know, animated properties, and then suddenly they brought in, you know, a property that was not animated.
But isn't Pirates of the Caribbean in 2?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I guess it's one of those where I looked at it and was like.
And like, so is Tron. Like, I guess that I didn't think. I played through them on the PS4 recently, so I guess I didn't think it was that weird.
It's been so long that for me, I was like,
I'm seeing all the bright colors, and all of a sudden I'm like, this looks like kind of
colorful.
Like, what is this?
This looks dingy. So
I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It showed up at 3 different press conferences.
Yeah, but wasn't it a different trailer each time?
So they cut the Microsoft one and the one at Square, which is weird. Where I think one was an extended version of the other, because it's the Elsa like, oh, we're coming in the middle of Frozen, and Elsa doesn't know how to control her powers, and she's running away, and we meet Olaf.
Love your sister.
So and that stuff, and then the one at Sony is the one that starts with Pirates of the Caribbean,
which was an interesting way to start, because
then goes into Elsa.
Is like clamoring for. I want more Pirates stuff, the Caribbean stuff to do in games.
Well, because this was the show of pirates. Thieves, Kingdom Hearts, Skull and
Bones.
I mean, they showed off Toy Story already at the Tokyo Game Show. So I don't think they wanted to redo that. You're gonna have Elsa and Frozen, which I think Frozen's just a big draw for them. Like, hey, let's get this out here. Frozen's huge, and then. I don't know, Pirates, because people wanted to see Johnny Depp. I got nothing. So,
I will say that they were really weird and sneaky when they dropped the release date.
Yes,
where it was like the middle of the night.
Oh yeah.
1 a.m.
It was like
on
some fan
Sunday night
conference, or what was it? I don't know. What was the event?
I just started seeing
it was like some concert or something
about it. Yeah, I just started seeing tweets about it. It's like January 19th. Like what?
Yeah, like, I just remember waking up the next morning and everybody being like, who drops an announcement at like 1:30 in the morning?
So,
Very next steps.
Was that like was it like some Japan event or something like that?
Well, and that's the thing is like so what we watched the Japan what was it? The Pokemon thing with Nintendo, and it was like 9 p.m. Eastern time, but it was like 10 a.m. in Japan. So I guess like 1:30 for us would be the middle of day for them, but still. Because like it felt a little mismatched considering it was during E3.
It seems like you're having your large game event and you didn't announce that there. But I mean, it's that game's gonna come out supposedly.
Everybody's gonna buy it apparently, according to my Twitter timeline.
So
I'll only buy it if there's battle royale mode.
Well, I figured you were gonna buy the special edition PS4.
Pirates are the new battle royale system.
I can't now. If I didn't have a PS4 Pro, I'd consider it.
It's actually funny because we keep seeing all these because right now is the Days of Play, and they have that special limited edition PS4, and all these neat designs, but they're only regular PS4s.
Yeah,
I know.
And I
have
a Pro already, so I'm if I could trade sell my Pro and buy a new Pro,
you get the Kingdom Hearts Pro.
This Kingdom Hearts is a Pro.
It's a Pro.
Is it?
Yeah,
no.
it is.
Pro.
I don't want Kingdom Hearts that badly. I'm sorry.
So,
if you told me Elder Scrolls 6, I would have said yes.
No, Elder Scrolls 6
that'll be a launch
game
on
for
the new
PS
Microsoft.
I'm expecting that to be the entire next generation. I've accepted that's 2 to 3 years away.
Yeah. That's after Starfield comes out, which Starfield was also just a trailer. So
well, they said I think Todd Howard said that Starfield is playable. Elder Scrolls is not. I think he said
Starfield got 20 seconds and Elder Scrolls got 3. So if we think of that in relation to how far
ratio of game developed.
So
but
exactly.
Playable can be real rough.
Okay, wait. Can we just say so I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Danny Pena, Godfrey. But I just remember every E3 I went to with him, we would sit at Microsoft and he'd be like, "This is the year they're gonna announce Battletoads." And it's weird this
ever since he watched that guy wore that T-shirt.
It's this comedy of that's where this whole thing with him of let me dream was, because he would always be Battletoads was the start of that. He was always wanting something that we're all going, that's not going to happen. So all I could think is that Battletoads showed up and they're it's going to be a new game. And I'm is he crying right now? He's been wishing for this for about 6 or 7 years. We went to multiple back-to-back E3s and we would sit at the Microsoft press conference and he'd be like, "This is it. Battletoads.
And then finally
it happened.
But didn't it say genre mashup, something like that?
I don't know. All I know is it said co-op, right? Couch co-op.
I thought most of that trailer was a joke. They're non-descriptive other titles.
It'd be nice if you could play as Zitz, Rash, and Pimple. Which have you ever been able to do that before? Oh, the arcade game was 3 players.
Yeah,
the arcade game
was the Super Nintendo.
Because the first game was you were rescuing.
But was the Super Nintendo the one where it's the crossover with Double Dragons? Couldn't you pick all 3 of them?
I think you're right. I think you could then too.
Anyway, one more thing we didn't talk about: Gears Tactics, aka Gears XCOM, also got announced
for PC only.
Is it a mobile?
They didn't. These are all great questions that you would like to think they would have answered.
Nope. Is the Gears franchise can that support? I feel like it's a little bit of a stretch.
I'm going to put this out here. A lot of my XCOM characters right now in XCOM 2 are wearing Gears armor because there's just tons of mods. So I'm okay with this idea.
Well, I feel like the cover system of playing through the actual game probably fits itself well to this style.
So, we'll see what happens, but
I'm probably not going to buy it.
Okay, we can't leave Microsoft without talking about their new studio acquisitions.
Oh, yeah. So this is interesting.
So Playground Games wasn't much of a surprise. Undead Labs,
also not much of a
surprise. Ninja Theory, a surprise.
That was a surprise.
Compulsion Games, also a surprise, because they're going to be releasing a game it's going to be on PS4 too, right?
Well, yeah. Think about it. Most of them are currently working on projects.
Right.
So all of those projects have to, outside of, what's the one that they're starting in Santa Monica? Because Santa Monica. Initiative?
The Initiative.
Yeah, so outside of that, which is a new studio that they've started. The other 4 acquisitions. So you would assume that outside of potentially Ninja Theory, who has just relatively recently put out Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, so they're probably not fully yet onto a new project. They were probably gearing up and speccing out, but hadn't really started. The rest have everything in progress because like Playground Games is going to put out Horizon 4, or is going to put out
new Fable apparently.
Supposedly.
Oh, right.
That's the rumor.
Right. That's the rumor. Yeah.
So here's the thing. What makes me excited about this is that Microsoft is thinking. You know, they haven't really. Well, they're spending because it takes time to build studios, and they haven't been putting as much behind having more and varied studios the way Sony does, by nature of Sony just having had additional generations of consoles. And so the alternative to that is that while they do continue to start a new studio, like the initiative is to purchase a few to bring into the fold that can then work on things. And in the short term, I'm not expecting much. In the long term, like, 2 to 3 years from now, when these teams have had time to actually like get fired up, really like ideate and things like that, it'll be interesting for me to see if they keep those teams on the existing, for the ones that apply, the existing franchises they're already doing. Like saying, hey, just make another one. Or if they really let them ideate on building new IPs for them. And like, my hope is...
You mean pull a Sony and like give them some sort of autonomy to make a game and trust them?
I expect it for Ninja Theory based on... I don't know if you guys saw the video that Ninja Theory put out explaining why they joined Microsoft. It's on their YouTube. Ninja Theory, I expect that...
Did they show a picture of the check that was the reason why?
I mean, they talked about it in detail. My understanding is like Senua's Sacrifice actually brought them out of the red. So, from a sales standpoint,
that is.
So them, I expect to probably be doing those like new IP creative things. The others, I'm not sure about. And the other thing too is like I can't just. This is me being a pessimist. I can't just assume that because they have studios that means they're going to put out, top class new IPs that are going to sell, multiple games or a lot of games for each generation. Like I look at it and go like, this has me understanding that you are thinking about what it means to build a group of studios that deliver for you consistently, because you're not always going to be able to pay for a game.
I mean, they're planting seeds, and hopefully,
take
there's and not every studio is gonna hit it out of the park, right? And that's why you have to have a pretty decent stable so that the pipeline is pretty robust going into the next console generation, right? I mean, I think that I think Microsoft knows there's not much to.
They can't pull a Sony and PS3 brought it back at the end of the gen in the last 3 years.
That's not going to happen. They've dug themselves too much of a hole.
If they ported The Last Guardian to Xbox One? Would that change anything? I'm just throwing it out there.
I will tell you that, one of my major disappointments continually with Microsoft right now is that because Rare is working on Sea of Thieves, they're not making me a new Viva Pinata game.
Oh, man, I wish they were.
You should be disappointed that they spent all this time and only... did what they did with Sea of Thieves. What else do you got?
I just want a Viva Pinata. I've been waiting.
That is a good game.
I mean, I guess the other thing with the acquisitions of all these studios is that Microsoft is... They talk about the consoles being a generation, but I think there was probably a concern for some people that Microsoft was going to get out of... Right. I mean, if you look at their CEO right now, he is huge on services. If this isn't a service, I'm not interested in.
But they also promoted Phil Spencer, so
understood. But I think there was some signals, especially during their CEO search. And
when he first came aboard, there was some
top 5 they were showing.
Very troubling.
We're looking to shop the Microsoft, the Xbox division. Right.
Well, I mean, the other thing.
A positive for them. So
I think that one thing that makes them a little bit different than some of the other previous manufacturers that left the game is that the bulk of them were based largely on console. Sega, Atari.
This is what they specialized in.
Yeah, that was their business. Microsoft has the benefit that the bulk of their business is not the console. And so theoretically, the teams working there can make a case for the number of people and the campuses and the studios and just the sheer investment that's gone into it to say the rest of the company is keeping you, successful, is keeping you in the green.
Sure.
Here's our 5-year plan to turn this around.
Right.
And
it's longer than 5 years, right?
Yeah, I'm using 5 years as an example. It's probably more like a 10-year plan. Yeah. And it's keeping in mind that, really what we're seeing Microsoft do right now is what Sony did, at the beginning of the PS3 gen when they shot themselves in the foot. They took several years where they had to reset, they had to lay the groundwork, they had to put faith in their studios, that those studios would turn around and start delivering for them, which they started to towards the end of the generation. Yep. And they got things like Last of Us, in on the PS3. They were able to turn around from a hardware standpoint. And that laid the groundwork for them to be prepared to come into the next generation and say, we know what let our competitor win this time.
And Microsoft helped them, right?
Themselves. And that's the thing. Basically, they've gone back and forth. So what Microsoft is really doing now is what PlayStation was doing, in the first year of PS3, which is okay, hit the big red reset button. The direction we went is not working the way we wanted it to. Our consumers are telling us something different. Let's lay the groundwork for what we're going to do. And that started to turn around for them within about 4 years-ish, in terms of their software, and it helped lay the foundation for what they did with the PS4, the hardware. So my hope is that Microsoft's at that point now. They said, if you think about what they talked about at the press conference outside of just the titles, first off, they focused on games. They talked about some of the services that will deliver games to their players, such as such as how they're expanding Game Pass, how they're hopefully making it faster. They talked about wanting to develop and build a system that allows them to people to I don't know if it's stream, but basically play their Xbox games on their phones and on their PCs and other places, which I don't care about because that's what I got the damn Xbox for. But the thinking and all of that, when you come back to it, really focuses on being able to deliver games to players so they've refocused themselves, and they're probably thinking about that long term so that they can come out with the next gen swinging.
Yeah, the thing.
Ty, just 1 second. I just want to just get this question in from GameVet. He said, "Do you feel ripped off by the mid-gen console upgrades, and do you think that the Xbox OG won't work with the next system they release?" Because we're talking about a new system.
I think the next system is a break. I think the next system is your Xbox 5 or whatever.
I think it's going to be like the original Xbox. Was the 360 backwards compatible? I don't remember now.
The 360 had a limited
popular titles.
Well, because remember they switched graphics back. Yeah. They switched from NVIDIA to ATI, so you didn't have the same graphics call.
Phil Spencer said that he's pretty committed to the concept of backwards compatibility. So that I think that is going to be a core part of their next console. So, but to answer the question about feeling ripped off, I don't know. They had to make a pivot in the middle, right? That's when Phil Spencer came on and he was going to make a pivot on the hardware side of things, and so and that's what they've set themselves up for the future, right? And so. I don't know.
Let's throw it out here. I don't think at least I can speak for Ben and Aaron, I don't think any of us made it through the last generation without upgrading our X360s and our PS3.
Really?
Well, let me rephrase that.
Okay, did you red ring,
I did have a red ring. I had one red ring, but then I ended up I mailed it in. And I went out the next day, and I still bought an original 360 because I don't think the S or something was available yet. I don't remember what it was, but I bought it. So I always had just the basic 360, and I still have it. I still have my fat original PS3.
So you didn't have a 360 that had HDMI on it?
No.
Wow.
See, that was just
I had that giant weird adapter thing that ran to the regular. I still have that. It's here. I can go. Actually, it's right down.
I was doing component. Yeah.
I came in late to the 360 anyway, so I think I bought the Elite.
Like I had the component one.
I was there day one.
It red ringed, so I sent it in, and that same day I went and bought one that had an HDMI out because I'm like, I'm not waiting for this to come back. I'll just have an extra one. And I mean, my PS3, like, now granted, my first PS3 got stolen, so like that
you might have still had it. You don't know.
But yeah, that was in my
I didn't buy a PS3.
I had it repaired
launch,
by Sony.
So.
But if it breaks again, that's it. So
my PS3 dev kit also got stolen. I probably would have hold on to those, but I ended up getting not the one that folds open on the top, but the second PS3 version.
I've owned 4 Xbox Ones, so I'm not really the right. Yeah. So, but for that,
I will say.
Why have you owned 4 Xbox Ones, Ben?
I've gotten really good deals on all of them.
Right.
Well, okay, no.
Wait, are you one of those people that says like, well, it's cheaper, I don't really want it, but because it's cheap, I'm gonna buy it? Are you one of those?
Okay. If you really want,
it's true. He just tried to buy Pokemon just because it was like, okay, well, it's half off, so therefore I'm gonna buy it.
So,
like, so hold on.
I will in 30 seconds explain my 4 Xbox One's history. All right, launch console. Then there was a Best Buy price mistake where you could get an Xbox and a laptop for $300. And so I traded in my launch console without the Kinect for $210, gave the laptop to my in-laws, and got a new Xbox for $90. And then I sold that Xbox because I got the Xbox One S during a Black Friday deal for essentially $220. So I sold my original Xbox for $100 to somebody and had the Xbox One S, and then I got a deal on the Xbox One X for like $350 last week. So that's the 4.
What? I have so many questions, but okay.
You're not going to be satisfied with the answer.
No, I'm not going to be satisfied with the answer, so I'm not going to ask them. I will say that I don't feel as cheated with this generation as I think I have on, like, I might have been in previous ones with like the mid-gen half step, mostly because I feel like a lot of the other components that go into what the supposed reason for that step was, which was like 4K and stuff, made them more accessible. So I had no problem just having my PS3. I'm sorry, my PS4. And I forget what happened. Did it die? Something happened, and I don't remember what it was. I think the system died for some reason. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to buy a PS4 Pro, and I'm finally going to upgrade my TV because I've had this like junky old, small TV that's gigantic, like the thick panels from like 6 years ago, super cheap, so I can like buy an HDR or 4K or what have you. And then at that point I was like, well, since I'm going to buy a new PlayStation anyways, I might as well buy the PS4. And then like I replayed Horizon Zero Dawn because it was so much prettier on a PS4 Pro than it was on my original PS4 with the nicer TV and stuff. So I also think like that's part of it, where like, for not the people who have had 4 of their Xboxes.
Actually, I will say there's one console that I've not been happy about in terms of the re-releases and buying new ones is actually the Nintendo 3DS. Like, I think in terms of the iterations that has gone through.
I mean, you bought
a lot.
I know that.
Several. Well, okay.
So wait, you bought a lot and you just weren't happy with what you bought?
Well, I think like just kind of the Nintendo, like, kind of their handheld consoles, I feel like there have been some pretty big iterations in a very short period of time, way more than what I think what we've seen in the home consoles. And to me, I actually probably feel a little bit not as good about buying newer versions of those consoles because of the iterations that they've made in the handheld more than anything else.
And that's
like
fair. I mean,
what was it? The new 3DS, which first off, that naming convention, who came up with this?
Yeah.
And then like there were games that released that could only be played on that. Like only
I think there are only two.
Yeah, there's not many.
Yeah,
There's
but
only
like
two.
when they
Yeah,
started
yeah.
that, I was like, no, I refuse. And I'm pissed off at you because I can't play that game that I wanted to play because it's only for the new 3DS, and I refuse to buy it because you're just being ridiculous, Nintendo.
I think there were more DSi only games than there are new 3DS only games.
Five DSi only games. Two. So it's Xenoblade Chronicle. Actually, I think there's only one. It's Xenoblade Chronicles.
I thought like isn't like
Hyrule runs better.
Like I heard it like is unplayable on an old.
Again, I will classify it will start on an old 3DS. As far as what I know.
Okay.
But
I will say there's one thing I really like to take us completely off topic. There's one thing I really, really want from Nintendo. There's a lot of things I really want from Nintendo.
I was gonna be like, okay.
No. Let's start over. There's a lot of things I really want from Nintendo, but something that in the short term they could do to hold me over until some of these games come out is put out all of their old, they could do like legacy packs, like $100, all of the old Marios onto Switch, all of the old, like especially handheld Zeldas onto Switch.
When did we go over to Nintendo? I'm sorry, what happened?
I'm taking us there now.
Just decided to go to
Nintendo. Cool. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then all of the Pokemon handhelds. Like, just do a bulk package. I will give you $100 for each. Give me all of them.
They're not going to do this, and I'm going to tell you why.
Well,
because
they're going
to do a Game Boy Classic, and you're gonna have to pick which Pokemon you want on that Game Boy Classic.
Oh man.
No.
Yeah, like the Japanese and the international versions are going to be two different ones.
But you're gonna have to buy a red, a blue, and a yellow. You're gonna have to buy all three if you want all three versions of Pokemon, because that's totally what Nintendo's going to do for the next classic after the N64 classic.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I'm telling you what I want, which is just release everything digitally onto the eShop so that I can buy all of them.
But you're gonna have to buy them one Pokemon at a time.
No, it needs to be
one.
There's no cart. There's no cart.
You only can buy one. You realize I'm saying I'm going to buy this, and I would buy it. But the thing is that I would buy it, and then I'd only pick and choose my favorites to play. So you're gonna give me all the Marios, I'm gonna play 2 of them. You're gonna give me all the Zeldas, I'm only gonna play 2. You're gonna give me all of the Pokemon, I'll play maybe 2. But I'm gonna buy all of them. I will give you my money, Nintendo.
Okay, you're still okay with shoveling money at them. There you go.
And again,
whatever I have to do to get them to do it.
Give me the 2 games I want.
Well, because I see it more likely that they would do a package, which is pay $50 or $75 or $100 and get all of them, than for them to release each of them individually.
Yeah, I mean, whatever is the most ideal thing that they should do.
They're not going
to.
They're Nintendo. They live in their own bubble and they do whatever they want, and it never makes sense.
I'll tell you what they should do. They should not do a press conference and then have 75% of it around one game. Where they show you all these things that they could have easily have shown us.
Smash strategy.
What did the Treehouse even talk about? What was the Treehouse about?
Smash is a huge game for them.
They talked about Smash. They talked about. They talked about. Actually, Treehouse sold me on buying Pokemon Let's Go. So I love Pokemon, but I was on the fence because I saw comments coming out after the event in Japan saying that there wouldn't be random encounters and it was a spiritual successor to Pokemon Yellow Pikachu Edition, and I was like, well, I don't want a spiritual successor. I want freaking Pokemon.
You can control it with a small orb.
Yeah, Wario 64 sold me on Pokemon.
Well, but then I actually watched part of the Treehouse where they actually showed it, and it was just enough for me to be like, okay, this is acceptable. I'll spend the money on it, and it'll just tide me over until the core Pokemon RPG comes out in 2019.
And that's the whole idea. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, man, I want Pokemon to be good.
I'm indifferent to Pokemon.
If Let's Go has essentially a. And it looks like it will have part stadium kind of functionality. You can still do turn-based battles and pick your moves. I'm there.
I've kind of stopped playing Pokemon Go though. I haven't played that much in months.
I don't know if I want to go back to Pokemon Go because I played it for a bit at start and then ended up uninstalling it. I know that that's one of the big things. Is,
I thought you were gonna say stop playing it. You uninstalled it.
Oh yeah. Well, I also I go through stages of playing mobile games in a way that I'm super dedicated to PC and console. But yeah, like I don't know if I'll go back to playing Pokemon Go, even though I know it adds something to experience, because I'm really just looking for like Pokemon Let's Go.
Standalone.
Yeah, like I just wanted to like fill the gap to get me to having that core Pokemon RPG on the Switch. I have expectations. Nintendo, don't fail me now.
I want that to be good. I want it now.
Well, yeah, I want it now too, but I'm willing to accept next year.
I want it now. Anyway, they also talked about Super Mario Party.
Yeah, that looked pretty interesting.
Super Mario.
Yeah, Mario
the
Mario
last
Party
time we had a Mario Party.
Wii U had. Yeah, it had 11. Yeah. It supported amiibos.
Oh well.
Be shocked.
I will say that like that weird thing they showed where like if you're there playing with people in person and you can have multiple
switches, yeah.
Like
how does that work?
What kind of black magic is that?
Like what weird blue? Because like more like that one where they show like the Mario things and like they're in a coffee shop. Okay, maybe they're on Wi-Fi, whatever. How do they do that in the woods? Like, how does that work at a campsite?
And how many can you do it with? Can you have like 4?
There's some infrastructure support that I don't know about on the Switch right now. That like
that's coming out this fall, isn't it? Or
which
October 5th.
Mario Party.
Yes, yeah, because they actually said that their like direct for E3 was intended to focus on games for 2018.
Okay.
So I will say, so first off, even though I wanted to like, where was Metroid? Where was Yoshi? Where was Shin Megami Tensei? You know, like where were all of these other? But they did specify, it was like the footnote that they didn't actually say to anybody that this one was going to focus on 2018.
Is Fire Emblem 2018?
Yes.
3 houses? Oh, okay.
I don't know if they put a date on it.
No, spring 2019.
Couldn't
they
have
spring
announced
2019.
a Punch-Out game or something? I don't.
Did they say spring 2019?
Luigi's Mansion
according to the
Switch?
Kotaku article we have linked, it says coming. Actually, I do remember at the end of the trailer it says coming in spring of 2019.
Okay, so mostly focused on 2018. And keeping
like
in mind
early stuff.
And keeping in mind too that Nintendo has moved away from E3 being the cornerstone of all of their large announcements, like a lot of the other companies do. Yeah, they do directs now. So for them, it's like, okay, that's great because I fully expect in about 2 to 3 months that they're going to do another direct, and we're going to see some more announcements and some additional insight into games that we'll see later in 2019.
Agreed.
Yep.
That said, I will say, so one of the ones that I was excited to see and then like also slightly disappointed was the expansion on Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, right.
And my reason for this slight disappointment is because like I watched and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. They're going to tell the story that they kept referencing. I really want to play it, or I really want to know it. And then I'm like, oh, but I'm so burnt out. I put 150 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh,
wow.
Like, I did a lot of the side missions. I spent a lot of time getting, like, rare, making pulls to get rare blades, and then trying to level all of them up, or unlock all of their
Did you
skills.
say making pulls to get rare plates?
Blades.
It's a RNG system.
Okay.
That's 148 hours more than I put into Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So.
I finished it. It was a really good story, and they definitely pulled some twists that I wasn't expecting. But I enjoyed it. But then, like, I look at that and go, like, as much as I want to play this DLC, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to like subject myself to knowing that I'm going to put like another 100 hours.
Go back in. So
it's like
Lost. No, it's a fair
back to the island.
Right, it's a fair statement, but I mean, that looked cool. Fire Emblem looks cool. Fortnite is by no means a surprise.
I feel like Fortnite's the new Skyrim.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But like they got it running on your phones, so like it's gonna run on a Switch. So cool. Hollow Knight, I bought today.
Tell me how you like it.
I have it on Steam. I haven't played it.
It's a very pretty game, and it's responsive. Like I don't see any lag. So I'm
like a billion Metroidvania games. I can't.
I've heard great things about Hollow Knight.
Like it's drawn amazing. Like
no, it looks
very
wonderful.
Pretty.
It's definitely a game that I feel like I should be playing. I can't take. I haven't finished Lightfall. I'm still playing through Fox and Forests.
And so
a robot named Fight. There's so many of these games. I can't take on anymore.
Wait, sorry, I'm reading something on the Kotaku thing. The Splatoon Octo expansion comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, Splatoon 2. Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not saying.
I don't play Splatoon, so.
I love that game, so I need to go like pre-order that. Or anyway, and hey guys, Ridley's coming to Smash Brothers. You might have heard of this little game. They spent 30 minutes on it. Like
Ridley's smaller.
I mean, the coolest thing about this though is it's every character that's ever been in a Smash game. Like, I don't think anyone was betting Metal or Snake was ever going to make an appearance.
And not voiced by David.
Well, yeah,
who
else was it that had been like two of them had been 10 years since they'd been in a Smash game?
I think
it wasn't just him.
Ice Climbers were brought back. Wii Fit Trainer hasn't been in since the Wii version. Pokemon, no, that was Wii 2. Who is GameCube? There was another. You're right. There was another GameCube one.
I just remember them specifically saying twice,
actually,
it's been 10 years since.
The Wii one would have been 10 years ago. So yeah, it's Pokemon Trainer, Wii Fit Trainer, Snake. It was everyone that was in
Snake.
Brawl, not Melee.
Snake.
Yeah.
Smash is just one of those games that I
own and
don't play.
I'm like so entertained by like
all of them.
The Pac-Man finisher.
It's awesome. Like, and I watched the Invitational or whatever they had today. Like, Pac-Man won both of like they did when they weren't having the pros play or whatever the.
Oh yeah, they did like a regular player thing.
They did like cosplayers, and then they had celebrities come up, and that's where he saw Pac-Man won. Whoever was playing Pac-Man won both of those sets.
Pac-Man is a beast. Okay, so here's the thing. It was, for me, it's really, first off, I love Smash Brothers. And I don't play with people that are actually really good. Like, most of me and my friends are terrible at it, but that just makes for really, like, hilarious.
The best people to play with.
Exactly. Like, I'm the person who's like, oh, let me pick up the thing that makes me invisible. And then I fall off the map because I can't remember where I am. But so, like, the whole time I'm watching it, all I can think is, the hilarity that's going to happen when I play with my friends is going to be so great, between the ridiculousness of having all of the characters there, the changes they're making, which I know that they really like focus on stuff more
10,000 changes
for the competitive set, but like as somebody who plays it comedically for like just for laughs, like all of them, like this is going to be great. And one of my coworkers is sitting next to me because we watched it during lunch, and it's just like, this is terrible. This is terrible. Why would they choose this? I'm like, no, this is going to be great and terrible, but it's going to be great.
Great and terrible.
And that's like, I don't know. I have a lot of my friends really enjoy Smash, so they like, oh, let's play Omega and turn off items. And I'm like, the only thing great about Smash is items, because then I get to see all the weird ass Nintendo stuff they threw in here.
Oh yeah, like a black hole.
Right, but also like, why is Gunman Larry there? Or like even when the Nintendo gets up and blocks the screen, like I think that's the coolest stuff because it's all
like the things that you're like, or what was it after one of the ones with Samus, like her ship crashes in the background.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, who decided that when this was done, the ship would crash in the background? Like, there's so many like weird Nintendo things that appear in Smash, or like, okay, this doesn't make sense, but it entertains me. Why are they mixing and matching like the characters? Like, oh, it's this character dressed like, you know, from this game, but then it's like, what is it, Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time, but he changes into Ganon.
Oh, Pig Ganon, yeah.
And like
why not? If you
and we're like, you didn't even pick the same game, but yet it's like super entertaining because I know that every time somebody uses that character and something like that happens, we're gonna spaz out. Like the fact that Princess Zelda is from, which one did they say that they based her design off of?
Link Between Worlds.
They said.
Yes, but then she can still turn into Sheik. Like, right. but that's the wrong game.
You're breaking the canon.
Okay, who changes into Daisy? Wasn't Daisy like an alternate character?
Peach
has
the
an
Echo.
Echo.
So why not just make Pauline too? I mean, you know.
Didn't she appear?
I mean, I'll be completely honest. Peach and Daisy share a body type and also wear poofy dresses. Pauline
so like they
doesn't
kind of
like it's I think it's just a model swap at this point is what we're having this discussion about. Like Pauline was a mayor of a city in Odyssey and
what was the name? Because Daisy is from Mario Land. So what was the bad guy's name from Mario Land? Tananga? Something like that.
You are asking for a
Also, why is there no Waluigi?
Yeah, Waluigi too.
Because he's terrible.
No, he's
But
not.
it would be hilarious.
And he's
I
like
mean,
Wario. This is a tall, skinny Wario.
Wasn't there like an article in the Washington Post today about how Waluigi was left out?
Oh yeah, it was like there was a meme going around that was like everybody is here, and it just like shows Waluigi like laying on the ground, like left alone.
Right. The answer that at least the rumor that goes around is because Nintendo feels people enjoy Waluigi
like ironically. Or
yes,
what?
they enjoy him ironically. That the passion for him is not true passion.
He's the same personality that Wario has. They're the same thing.
I mean, does he? Because he was literally just brought in so Wario would have a partner in tennis. Like, that's the only reason Waluigi exists.
Aren't they brothers?
Are they?
They should be if they are.
Like, I don't actually think that's the case. Like, I have no idea anymore. Anyway, it's. I mean, he's an assist trophy, so you're gonna get that.
There's Stanley from Donkey Kong 3 in there too. What are they doing? They messed up.
More characters. Like, it was exciting to watch. Like, you know, we got a lot of stuff. Everybody wanted it. We got a release date. Which, okay, so to bring all of this E3 talk together, like November through February is gonna be a really hard time to be a gamer because there's so many releases.
Take my wallet and be gentle.
It's expensive.
It was literally like I was trying to describe E3 to a friend of mine who doesn't game, and I'm like, it's literally spending about 3 or 4 days watching where you're gonna basically spend like a couple $1,000s over the course of the next like year to year and a half for most gamers, and that I was like, I mean, like, I kind of feel bad about that, but then, like, but what I'll get out of it. And legitimately, like, Nintendo hadn't even started yet, and I was like, take my money, Nintendo. Just take it. Flings my wallet at the screen.
Why won't you? But no, I mean, it's. Oh man, I'm looking forward. Again, my question right now, and I hope it's this simple. They said 8 players was coming back. That means, I hope that means 4 or 2 of the adapters that were for the Switch.
Well,
but there's only
4 just said that they're coming out for $20.
But they're re-releasing it.
There's only 3 USB ports, so I'm hoping a hub will work because each of those adapters needs 2 USB ports, and there's only 3 on your Switch dock.
I mean that's only if everybody needs a GameCube controller.
The first one has its struggles as well.
Let's be completely honest. If you're at all serious about playing Smash Brothers, of course, like that's.
Let's be honest here. How many of us are really serious?
Okay,
I mean, I have 4 GameCube controllers.
We were having this discussion. Yeah, we were having this discussion before you joined. I have 12 GameCube controllers somewhere around here right now. Like, we could do this.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Why do you have 12?
I've been given random. So for Extra Life, we were running a booth and we had the 8, and then I also been given random GameCubes by people that like were playing games that stopped playing games. So I've got.
I think I have like 3, maybe 4, but I'm still like 12.
I think I have 6.
At least 12 is the last count that we were talking about. Don't judge me. Like it's okay. Like I mean,
I'm thinking like, what controller do I own most of?
The Wii also had the GameCube ports on it, so like I needed GameCube controllers for that. And then I wanted a set of Wavebirds, so it was like, we need to do this. So anyway, I'm hoping it's a USB hub, because the first moment that you give anyone not a GameCube controller, especially at least in my set of friends, I'm just going to listen to bitching the whole time.
Well, like a Pro controller is not good enough?
No, it's not a GameCube controller. You have no idea. Like, these people, again, have been playing since the N64, and they take it very seriously.
Maybe too seriously.
Again, they won't let me turn on items. So, except for it's my house, so they're going to turn on items. So, but anyway, like, I hope it's a USB hub. That it should be an easy solution. Because it's tiny. Yeah. Yes, I have a lot of GameCube controllers.
But 12 that's a lot.
I have
5?
Okay, let's time out for a sec. I can see 4 different GameCubes from here. Like, I've been given multiple GameCubes over. I also had to go back.
My old neighbor gave me a game. I have 2. One's in the garage, and then I have the one I bought.
And when I was hardcore into making sure I had the best GameCube picture. I went and found one of the ones that had the digital port out on the back, and then
well, that's a must. I wouldn't even accept it
if you bought it at launch
without that.
You know, then you
I had my one from launch, but it didn't.
Are you guys secretly pack rats?
Oh, I mean,
I don't think there's.
I don't know. If
I don't think there's secret.
this is the basement.
Okay, you're like honest. I admit it, pack rats.
Yeah.
There's people in chat right now just saying like GameEnthus money because they think I make money from the show, which is so wrong.
Because
I mean, I'm also a pack rat, but only in very specific things.
How about
this? Like, I mean,
like,
nice.
Okay, guys, really? I have 20 different N64 games that I have organized in front of me.
It's a dust flap.
Anyway, whatever.
Alex Kidd is built in.
Let's keep this going. So I mean, I think Smash will be cool. I didn't know the Splatoon expansion comes out tomorrow. I'm going to go buy that because I enjoy the heck out of Splatoon quite regularly. The last one I wanted to mention, Killer Queen Black, which I think
that
we
looks
played.
Cool.
I think at least 2 of us have played Killer Queen at MagFest.
Yeah,
which is the arcade, the 2 arcade games network together, and it's like a MOBA, but you control all of the different units, but they're bees, and you're trying to take eggs to make new units. It
looks fun.
You want the first thing that comes to my mind?
What's that?
Killer Queen by Queen.
Yes, I mean,
I mean that's like literally every time I hear that title, I'm like, music.
Have you seen the trailer for the Freddie Mercury biopic?
Yes, so good. I'm like looking forward to that.
I've heard that like they're not gonna talk about like, I guess like the AIDS epidemic or anything in it, which is interesting.
That seems weird.
That's like a weird omission. And I've just derailed this whole podcast. Sorry.
Okay, all right. Well, what
Killer
else
Queen
was on our
really
list?
cool.
Because I think we've gone into a lot of directions.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone really want to talk about anything from EA or Ubi? Because those are the only 2 we really, or Devolver.
No,
Devolver was funny.
Let's see.
What's the game? Was it something?
My Friend Fernando or whatever that was.
Pedro.
That looks fun. That looks like super hot, but it's like a platformer and 2-dimensional or something. It looks fun.
Say that we saw multiple ways of how to better show off a game than EA did with Anthem.
That Anthem, that was a lot.
The more I hear about Anthem,
there was a good when Jeff Keighley did his like YouTube thing. He had one of the Anthem guys on, and they showed some gameplay, and that was actually really good.
Here's the thing, like, it sounds like all the people that got to play it have liked how it plays, but their presentation on stage compared to how we saw other companies at all of the other ones, I'm like, guys. Like, look at how everybody else. Look at how Division did it. Look at how I'm blanking on everybody else, but pretty much everyone else that was showing off something multiplayer, online persistent worlds and things like that, did a better job. Maybe not.
I recommend going and finding the YouTube interview, like the YouTube at E3 interview that Jeff Keighley did with I don't know whether the creative director or whoever it is on Anthem. And it was really good. It was a good explanation of the mechanics. It showed a lot of the gameplay. It definitely piqued my interest a lot more in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another Destiny clone you're going to buy and then not play?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. You should ask Aaron that question.
So I mean...
Who bought it twice?
And it's unopened.
I like that you're just throwing shade at each other to like try to...
I can't... He's not wrong.
Not wrong. Like, this is true. Like,
I don't own a copy anymore.
skeptical.
I bought it and I traded it in.
It was $8.
And I played it. And I played I played it pretty far.
By yourself?
I like that you said full and then you're like, no, let me...
Well, I didn't get to the raids.
I
didn't get to the raids. So I played as much as I could without getting into the raids. So that's that was probably like 30 hours. So
Before we move on to Sony, I was going to say Devolver also announced they're doing a remake of Metal Wolf Chaos, which was an original Xbox game, only in Japanese
Japan.
only. So,
but
not very good from what I've heard.
Is it? I mean, I watched the GDQ or GD.
Given our political climate, it looks like it's a parody and ridiculous and poking fun at, this country. So
right.
US. So it could be
2004.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess we'll see. It'll be on PC. You'll get a chance to play it because it was incredibly tough to play it before. So it was not worth the effort.
Says you.
I mean, you had to mod an X. It's not important.
We didn't mention the Xbox skating game either, but
Sessions.
Wasn't that kickstarted? Wasn't that a Kickstarted game?
That was Kickstarted? I did not know that.
It was crowdfunded. Yes, I don't know if it was.
I don't know if it was Kickstarter. I'm using that as like a crowdfunding general term.
It was.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was crowdfunded.
I know what we didn't talk about.
What's that?
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh, actually, good call. Because I want that. And also, that's going to play like Resident Evil 4. Like,
can I ask a question? Why everybody's so excited about that game?
Better not have tank controls.
I don't understand. Like, it looks good, but what is the big deal? I don't.
You want my honest answer?
Please.
When I was younger and Resident Evil 2 came out, I couldn't play it because I was terrified of most of the Resident Evil games. So now I'm an adult and I can do it. I'll still be terrified while I'm playing, but I'll play it with all the lights on. Not wearing headphones, and I'll probably have friends over just that I'm not by myself.
Like, is it gonna be as terrifying? Like, it felt like from some of the camera angles and what they were showing. I think it's going to be Resident Evil 4 style,
which sounds appealing. I love RE4, but I'll be more
was
excited
also
for
less
RE4
stressful
on Switch than a remake of Resident Evil 2.
No, let me be honest. I tried doing RE4. It was still stressful. I'm a coward. Let's be real here. I'll go ride motorcycles. I'll go diving with sharks. I will do all the things. I will not play horror games.
Let's be real.
Something that's
RE4
scary.
is the best RE. So if this remake of 2 is it going to be better? Is it going to be better than 4? Then don't even bother.
Whoa, Flagon.
I don't
know about that one. I really enjoyed 7. Like
I never finished it.
I've played through 7 like 4 times.
I need to finish 7.
That game is great.
It is great, but it's not. 4 is the best to me.
Can I throw out another one?
Play horror
Go for it.
So.
Metro Exodus.
I need to finish a Metro game
or one of the
okay.
Metro game.
Talking about being an adult and being able to play games that like scared me. Metro 2033 was actually really, really good, and then Metro Last Light I didn't feel like was quite as good, but it was still a really decent story. So I'm quite looking forward to it.
So I own both of those games. So you're saying they're worth playing?
Yes.
I got the Redux ones. The problem is I've now also read halfway through the first book, and it covers what's in the first Metro, and I'm kind of confusing myself what the hell I'm supposed to be doing anymore, because I'm like, wait, Arturo already did this. It's good.
I'm actually going to be... I just recently ordered a copy of 2033 to read the book, so it's interesting. Let's see, what...
I'll ride the Metro, is that...
That doesn't count.
There was a rat playing with a soccer ball one day. I don't know.
I'm gonna address 2 real quick in the chat. Is Resident Evil 2 remake going to be $60? I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know if that's been announced. But if it is, I
think I want to say it is because I think I've seen some pre-orders and I think it's $60.
I don't think, but he then puts out the Shadow of the Colossus as a comparison. And I guess I don't know if I see those as. I think there's a lot more work to do a PS1 game than even if you're talking about PS2 or PS2.
Well, and the other thing too is like, it's not just a port. Like, are they actually like HD remaking it? Because then it's a lot of extra work too to like bring it up to snuff for the current gen.
It's a whole new thing.
It's a whole new game.
Yeah,
like
it's a whole new
that's why I think it's from the camera angles. I think it's a Resident Evil 4 style movement. Like it's not going to be the tank controls.
But telling the story of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, right. And apparently people are not thrilled with the fate like Leon and Claire's faces.
They look. What's weird is
look different, but
they look
okay.
different. But they look different than like even the CG movies Capcom's been pushing, where they're both in them. Like, but the characters are both like, why make different models? Like you already.
Maybe they don't have access to the old models.
Watch
they're
our
like, oh crap, we got to start from scratch.
So strangely enough, Resident Evil 2 pre-order page is up on Amazon, and it's actually $70.
What?
Oh, okay, cool.
No,
It's actually
hold on. Are you sure? Because I'm looking at it right now and it says 60. Are you looking at standard or are you looking at the deluxe edition?
Deluxe is 70. I didn't see the standard come up.
So
it's at least 60.
Were we just here earlier talking about Pokemon? And
oh yeah, here it is. No, I see. You're right. So I see the regular edition now is 60 and a deluxe is 70. But so to answer that question, it looks like it's at least.
Who knows?
I think I'd be willing to accept 60 though for it. Like if they're legit like rebuilding the game from the ground up and just telling the same story, I'm okay with this.
I'm gonna play. I'm assuming. I mean, if you think about the length of RE4 versus, Resident Evil 2, you're talking like 2 or 3 times the size. So I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot more than just we took the exact story and just made new models.
I don't know, because remember I was a coward as a child and I didn't play it.
Nah, I beat RE2. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's not a game for me, but I'm happy for people.
I have the N64 version. It was a really good version. It was impressive. It's the largest cartridge ever made for that system.
That N64 version of Resident Evil 2 is it's magic.
Any sense how
it's black magic. That they fit that game into 64 megs. That was a game that shipped on 2 CDs. Yep. Like it is black magic.
And the audio was compressed, but it wasn't bad.
Anyway, yeah. I very much appreciate the N64. So, but that's a long history. But man, Resident Evil, yeah, that Resident Evil remake, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2. Can we talk about that? We talk about how. All right, the Sony press conference, they bring everybody into this room.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, the
hold on, we gotta do a quick intermission. Hold on, we gotta change scenes real quick.
Oh,
please take 10 minutes to go to your new seat.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Go into the room next
Everybody
door.
go to their second room.
I remember hearing a rumor at the beginning of that show that for each of the 4 major games they were going to show, they were going to have everyone get up and change to a different room.
What was
that sounds
room
good,
going to be?
like on paper?
That's what I want to know. Is like, what would the Death Stranding room look like?
That would just be okay. First off, Death Stranding is just like I'm so confused on what's happening.
I'm less interested in that game.
It's just weird for the sake of weird, right? Is that?
Yeah, like I have no interest in ever playing that game. Like, and every time I see it, I'm like, what? But yeah, so let's lead with props to Sony for trying something different, but it fell flat. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, you're logistically, it wasn't well done. It was confusing. Your stream died partway through.
The talking head portion in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Okay. Oh no. And then who was in charge of the cameras? Who was it that during a trailer kept panning and switching to the view of the stage? Instead of the direct feed, and it happened.
Didn't they do that last year?
But they do, they do that every year. They're terrible.
Like they should just no. Like it's still not acceptable any year they do it.
Like they do it every year. It's like, guys, we understand you made a cool scene. We're not there though. Yeah. So like it doesn't work for us.
Right.
So even more than in previous years, I feel like. Yay, you tried something new, but guys, like this entire experience, first off, it probably sucked for the people there. Oh yeah. Because who was the person that was like in the in the second row who's like, guys, we got a great seat. This is gonna be great. We're in the second row, and then they see that first section, and it's like, all right, you got to move now, and then you're like, oh crap, now we got to fight for second row again. And then just as for viewers from home. It wasn't well done. Like it was really disjointed. The experience they were trying to convey just didn't work as well for the bulk of the people who just physically aren't there.
So I do appreciate Sean's, transparency. We said you're not going to see anything really new. We're just going to be taking a deeper dive into a handful of games. Yeah. That level sets us, so we know we're not seeing anything new, and that's okay. Yeah. But yeah, it was like the talking head thing. I was like, are they really doing this?
Well, and the other thing too, they didn't have an overlay, so I'm like, should I know these people?
Right.
I'm sorry, a bottom third that was saying who they were. I'm like, is this a dev? Did you guys bring in somebody to talk? Like what's happening right now?
It was odd.
Was one of the parts of the talking head, was this before or during the show where they're like, let's talk about the Call of Duty maps that are coming out, and you get Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
So that was after the first segment. So they introed, they did Last of Us, and then they went to a talking head segment. Wow, they moved everybody from the tent to the theater.
And I'm like, are we really talking about maps right now? Like this, like okay, like that. Yeah. That just seemed like a real weird momentum shift. But I mean, I don't know. Last of Us 2. I have a lot of
questions. The combat looks amazing.
Was it actually that was the in-game engine footage? Because that was stunning.
It was in-game,
beautiful.
Yeah. Now there's no release date for that game yet. They haven't even said 2019 or I mean it's obviously not coming out this year.
No, it came out last night. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But I mean the combat looks amazing in terms of I don't know, was it the dodging or just I don't know.
Yeah,
the environment use, the fact that you could like walk up to somebody who had like taken an arrow and pull it out and make use of that.
Right. Or like the hiding under the car sequence.
The fact that you could hide under the cars, like, can you do that all the time?
That's what.
Say yes.
I have some questions about how much of that was a scripted scene because, like, also Ellie pulls the arrow out of her shoulder when she gets into the store that's been overgrown, and you saw it. And I'm like, is that going to be dynamic? Because that feels real.
Right.
Well, I'm assuming all of this was pre-recorded. Like the entire thing was scripted. That's why, like.
Yeah, but
is it scripted? Is it scripted as in like, yes, this is the scenario we're working through, or is it scripted and they recorded it, or is it scripted as in, there's button prompts we're just not showing?
I'm sure. Like, I'm sure there are.
It's really more of a quick time scene, like. Because you see the one time when the guy pulls her out from under the truck.
Right, and that was a quick time scene.
Like, hit square several times.
Yeah,
anybody just kind of grossed out when she chopped that guy in the neck after she, like, had shot him full of arrows?
Yes, that was...
I was like,
that
just seemed gratuitous. Like, he's going to bleed out. Like, you don't need to do this.
Even the other Last of Us 2
like, do you remember the guy at the beginning of that trailer where the guy, like, stabs him again, and then rips out his intestine, and that's hanging down while he's, by the way, hanging from a noose.
I'm also, like, assuming that there's context that we're not getting for, like, why she doesn't like these people so much, and, you know,
I mean, that was one of the complaints about the last trailer they did, right? That it felt, like, very gratuitous. You know what I mean? And not having that context, so
it's kind of pornography in a little bit. Like this is a little.
Well, one of them too is like I'm quite interested in seeing how they frame up the story because I look at it and go like, are they trying to say something about the person she's become living in this world? You know, and that like maybe it is just gratuitous, and that's entirely possible. And maybe it's what we're lacking is the narrative around it that says like we're saying something about who she's become. Because of this world that she's living in.
I mean, I'll be playing it at launch, so...
Yeah, I mean, like,
it was not a sequel that I expected, necessarily wanted, but I'm going to play it. I enjoy it.
Well, yeah, it's one of those where it's like, I never really expected them to do a sequel, and it wasn't one that I was on a list where I was like, no, I need you to tell me what happened. But now that they're doing it, I'm like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Same here.
Exactly. I'm excited for it.
After that, we had Ghosts of Tsushima. So, like...
Their color palette was very
pretty.
Cool.
It was pretty, like...
Pretty.
I'm just not entirely certain I know what that game actually is going to be.
It was called Tenchu. They just...
Well, but weirdly enough, isn't there another Tenchu-like that was at the Xbox one?
Yeah.
The Sekiro?
I can't think of
what
From Software.
Only Die Twice?
Shadows Die Twice.
The one from Dark Souls.
From Software, yeah.
From Software.
I find
and that's not exclusive, right?
That's multi-platform.
Yeah, multi-platform. Well, and Ghost of Tsushima, I think, was interesting because even though like the color palette and their environment setup was glorious, like it just wasn't running as smoothly in comparison to like Last of Us that they showed. And it's just like you see some of the things that showed like it's still quite in development. Yeah. Much more distinctly when you put it right after.
That's right.
I mean, I think Last of Us is probably the most I thought the most advanced engine
in development,
and graphics of anything we've seen, and it's not even coming out this year.
But that's why they didn't show Days Gone, because why would you ever leave the show with that and then show Days Gone?
Yeah,
I don't even know why Days Gone exists, honestly. But that's just me. I don't need another narrative story with like either actual zombies or like zombie-like things.
See, what I'm missing is like the hilarious zombie sequences that like Left 4 Dead did. I feel like a lot of the stuff recently has been like more serious zombie. I'm like, no, like I want like the comedic. I'm leaving my friend behind. Sorry.
What, Dead Rising? Dead Rising is kind of like that, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just always felt like I really liked how they kind of sequenced Left 4 Dead, and that most of the other games didn't deliver as well. And I'm not particular to Dead Rising, which is me just being salty.
Right. And then they showed a game that I'm pretty sure if this would have been on Microsoft's stage and would have been exclusive, he would have been like, "Who cares? That's just me." But Control looks like a Quantum Break sequel. Or
it's Remedy.
It
is
literally
Remedy.
Yeah,
but that's what
they just
people
didn't show the
excited.
TV show they're making with it. So.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But people are excited.
I enjoyed Quantum Break actually,
which is fine. I just feel like if it was a Microsoft game or Xbox exclusive, nobody would care. Like, whatever.
Right.
But it is multi-platform, so it's coming to both. But
yeah,
we'll see.
We kind of already talked about it briefly, but Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Still weird.
Still Kojima,
But like, I feel like after that trailer, I'm less interested in that game.
I was never interested in that game.
Like the people that are like, oh, it's like Breath of the Wild, and you see him like walking around, like I guess, but that seems a lot less.
All I know is they were just walking around with like huge backpacks.
Randomly changing backpacks. At one point, it's a body.
It's a walking simulator, okay? It's a walking simulator.
Yeah, like I just.
Well, like, and it was funny that they showed the sequence where like he was carrying all of the boxes, and we're like, "Damn, he's strong." And then they show him with like one box, and he goes in the water and falls, and we're like, "But apparently he can't swim." So.
How about we like wakes the baby up? Like, hey, look at this. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm like, this is like, I'm so.
It's just,
I don't even want to know.
It's too Kojima for me.
Too Kojima.
It's weird for the sake of being weird.
Okay, so I was excited, but also surprised by Neo 2.
Yeah.
That's a surprising. It also seems quick.
Yeah, well, and they didn't put any timeline on it, but I was honestly surprised because Neo launched in February of 2017, so it's barely been more than a year. And to be fair to Sony, it got really good reception. I have several friends who like those styles of game and who had not been playing PS4 and was like, I'm buying a PS4 now. There's enough there with this game coming out to justify it. So I think that there was like an interest to be like, yeah, this is, we want to do it, but I was still surprised for them to announce it, even though I'm sure we probably won't see it until like 2020.
Fair.
And then Spider-Man, which is looks
Spider-Man.
really good.
Spider-Man
looks so good.
It does look good.
I pre-ordered it yesterday.
I want to know who the mystery person that he looks up at is, because they now show they showed 5 of the Sinister Six in that
Who's
trailer.
the 6th then?
It's Doc Ock.
Well, no, but see, he's surprised. So
Kraven the Hunter.
What's the likelihood that he would?
I'd say Sandman, because he could be an ally. But it has to be someone that he'd allied with either earlier in the game or is known to be an ally with.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Honestly, that would make more sense. But like,
I'm really just like, I really want them. It was funny because we were all joking around, like Sinister Six, like Spider-Verse, just pull everything out.
Yeah, yes. It could be Gwen. It could be.
Have you seen? I wasn't aware of that. Spider-Man is it
Into the
movie?
Spider-Verse animated movie
one?
in December.
That looks awesome.
Really
I know nothing about it until I saw I think this past week I saw a trailer and I was like,
yeah, the trailer dropped this past week.
Yeah, the one where they're finally going to bring Miles in properly.
Right.
Yeah,
As compared to the reference, they're like in Homecoming where Donald Glover's like, oh yeah, I have a nephew.
Cousin or nephew. Right.
I have a nephew around the corner.
Right.
That was he was supposed to be Prowler.
That looks pretty cool.
But yeah, no, Spider-Man. I mean, I love Insomniac games, and them doing this, I'm super excited for.
Yeah,
so
I'm very excited for that.
Like, I'm gonna get that game, and also they already started doing the pre-orders because it's like you can get the movie suit, or blah, blah, blah. So I need to figure out how to maximize that. So, and then the weird PSVR game from Software that it's just the monotone color palette they showed, and I was like, oh, okay. Just the Darrison. Did anyone else see this?
Oh, this is like the one that happened after the show.
Yeah, this was like right after the show they showed it.
No, I was annoyed by their ending and was like, I'm done with you, and I closed it.
It was like I don't have no idea what you're doing. Like this, and actually the Rick and Morty thing they showed in the middle was the same idea. Like, I don't know what this is other than it's a VR game.
Why did Scoop Move
like, still not interested.
What if Spider-Man turned out to be a Fuse sequel?
I was what was
Ouch.
I was thinking? I thought they were actually when they first started showing Control, not knowing like and that it was a Remedy game. It's like, are they doing another Infamous?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I could have gone for another. Anyway, Sucker Punch could anyway. Turns out to be a Fuse sequel. Miles.
Well, it was funny because somebody was like, "How did Sucker Punch go from what they made before to like Ghost of Tsushima?" And I'm like, "Well, that's like asking how Guerrilla Games went from Killzone to freaking Horizon Zero Dawn." You're like, "What happened to you guys? It was amazing."
And someone, Robbie said it. Miles is in the second trailer for this, right? Which makes me wonder if the sixth person is Miles. That he's like, oh, you like being surprised by this.
That was sort of my guess, but
but like Miles is never. There's no comic that I can think of where Miles has been even tricked into being part of the Sinister Six against Spider-Man. So I don't know. We'll see. So it could be the Human Torch. I would love it to be the Human Torch. I don't know why it'd be the Human Torch.
All the crossovers.
But yeah, like, yo, it's Johnny Storm. He's always been a friend of Spider-Man, and he can be a jerk. But why he'd team up? The thing is, Mr. Negative can turn anyone with a touch, so like it could be anyone. Who knows? Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah, but Spider-Man. Anyway, Spider-Man, and that's September. Like,
yeah,
September 7th.
Yeah, that's soon. We got anything else? Like, I mean,
there was no mention of Time Splitters this year. Although
I mean, if we're gonna talk about things that weren't mentioned.
Well, to me, still the highlight of E3 is the SNK mini console.
Are you really
release?
Gonna buy that?
I am going to buy it.
Debating. I am
we
debating
just
buying
talked
more
about
than.
them being like pack rats. I'm fairly confident they're going to buy it.
I'm debating buying more than one. But
well, I'm not doing that. I'm purely buying it to have it at the Extra Life booth.
Yeah. So I'm super excited.
100% my reason.
Console.
Okay, who made that last Neo Geo thing that they?
So SNK licensed that out to a company called Tomo.
Yeah, that was terrible.
And it was terrible. And this just, I don't know. I mean, SNK is doing all of the development themselves on this, and it's weird, but I'm super excited for it.
I watched the whole video for it. They seem very excited, and they got.
And that guy that did the video was really weird, also, but.
The guy with the really
it just
deep
looks voice? It looks like it's going to be a very good representation of the SNK games, so
are you going to get the international version or the Japanese version?
All I want is the international. I'm good with the international one.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with the international version, actually. I actually think it's probably the better of the two, but the Japanese one still
more fighting games, but you don't
more fighting
need
games. It's
all
got a
those,
couple more King of Fighters games. I got to take a look at the
Magician Lord is on.
Yeah,
it's on the international version, but it's not on. Also, some Metal Slugs aren't. But speaking on that topic, Maxwell Powers was the guy for that trailer.
Yeah,
and that man should either be a supervillain or a porn star. Like, if you have that name, you're just predestined. Like, I don't understand. Like. How I watched that, I was like, I'm more interested in this man than this product right now.
Where's your mustache, good sir?
Like,
okay.
So,
I mean,
that's my E3 highlight is the SNK mini console, even though it's not actually at E3.
Battletoads for me.
Yo, Gears pop. I mean, what?
And Mandy, I'm sure your highlight is Elder Scrolls 6, right?
I mean. Highlight of like at least it's happening. Highlight of I actually want it, or I shouldn't say I do want it, but highlight of what's coming soon. Wow, that's a good question. I was
surprised they mentioned it. Like I was really like, okay, I didn't think they were going to talk about it at all.
I guess the discussion is like just mention it because people are going to keep fucking asking.
Right.
Well, and the other thing too is like saying that the team that was supposed to be because like Bethesda's normal timeline is that as people complete their work on a title, so Fallout 4, they start shuffling over to the next project, which is typically Elder Scrolls. It's the same team that tends to do both. So I think that there was also this like, dude, you guys haven't talked about Elder Scrolls, and they announced Fallout 76 and Starfield, and it was like, okay, so basically what you're saying is that team that's like your core team that has been the lead on this major franchise is working on another one. So they Fallout 4 and now Fallout 76. So I think it was also like kind of, you know, laying a little bit of like, we heard you guys, and like, don't worry, it still exists. We haven't given up on it. In that sense, because like that was like we literally when Day sat down and spec'd out and was like, okay, this is usually the timelines between the individual Elder Scrolls and the individual Fallouts. Here's where they fit into each in between each other. So like usually you have your like early development people, your concept artists, your environment artists, the people who are just laying the groundwork but aren't doing the actual development and coding. Like once their work is done, for the most part, they shuffle on to the next project, and you're rotating everybody through. So that the next project's already kicked off, theoretically. So like that idea of like, but where's Elder Scrolls, guys? You did Fallout 4 like years ago. Where's Elder Scrolls?
I'm also looking forward to Hitman 2.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one a lot. So, you know, hoping that they continue with that. Obviously, not episodic this time.
I need to finish the first one.
It's really good. It's really good.
You can spend 5 hours per map. It's nuts.
We failed to mention one of the most important trends coming back, Toys to Life. With the Star Fox game. At Ubisoft.
Starlink.
Yeah,
Battle for
Starlink.
Atlas.
Yeah.
How about
Can you play that game without the items?
I doubt it.
No, you can't. I mean, the demo that they have is without the items. I think that's what I heard.
Well, right, but the demo they had for Disney Infinity was also without the item. I guess we'll see. I mean, the interesting idea is if it's for Switch, like they have to let you like save your character to the system and then upload it back to the toy later, because like you're not gonna have the ship with you the whole time or whatever.
Yeah.
So I also wonder, because the size of the one they gave Miyamoto or whatnot they were showing, like, is that the size?
That was huge.
The toy?
I don't think
like
that. I think that was just like a model. I don't think that was the actual size of the toy.
So yeah, I mean, but guys, Toys to Life back. Like more. You want to talk about Pack Rat? More stuff to add to.
Yeah, but you stopped buying all that stuff though.
They stopped making it. They stopped
making it. Like when we talked about Ninja Theory,
there's a difference.
When we talked about Ninja Theory being acquired, I was like, I know one of the reasons they did, because Disney stabbed them in the back. Ninja Theory was making Disney Infinity 3 so much better, and then they stopped that game. So Ninja Theory did almost all. Like Ninja Theory made Princess Jasmine's moveset in Disney Infinity 2.0.
I did not know that.
That's the weird things I know in my head. Anyway, Disney Infinity, great game. I miss it. But I mean, I don't know. I want to look at I want to see Star Fox made by someone else, because the last Star Fox sucked by Nintendo. So
it's terrible.
I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. The previous to last, because the last one, Star Fox 2, on the
SNES
Classic. Yeah. And I love Star Fox 2.
That was also not made by Nintendo, though.
I mean,
technically.
I guess it's Argonauts in partnership with Nintendo.
Who they screwed over. That's a company they screwed over, because they stole the idea from Mario 64, and then they made Croc, right?
That's the story, but that story changes a lot. So, depending on who's telling it and at what time. And
how much they had to drink.
Yeah, they one of the stories is they had a 3D platformer before they saw Mario 64. And they're like, oh, we can make a Yoshi game out of this. And then when Nintendo said, yo, no way, we're doing Mario 64, they turned it into Croc. Legend of the Gobos or whatever. So
yeah, I have that on the side. Yeah. I
mean, Robbie does, like, it's weird No More Heroes wasn't shown. That's a 2018 game that Aaron says.
A lot of stuff they didn't show.
There's a lot of things. Yeah, I don't know. Like, mine at the end of it is like, it's a great time to be a gamer. I'm going to spend so much money. I'm going to play all the things. Yeah. Maybe not right away, but I'm going to play all the things. And
Wait, we can not buy things at launch? I'm confused by this.
So Robbie thinks you're being eaten by the bottom of your screen.
Sorry, I'm not sitting up.
No, I'm not saying that you don't buy it. You can still buy it at launch. You just might not play it.
Okay.
Yeah, my shrink wrap collection is starting to get a little out of.
It's like it's gonna be the stack of things that still have their plastic on it.
Aaron, you don't leave things shrink wrapped because you need to get the points on your Switch for the. So
all my Switch games are open except for Wonder Boy, because I have it digitally, so I'm leaving the other one in the package. But yeah.
Wait.
So, yeah. So I don't know. I can't pick one thing. There are a lot of things that are getting my money. So.
Yeah, and across all the platforms. Like for everything. Like Octopath Traveler comes out soon. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, I want to try the demo of that.
I have the collector's edition.
Anybody know why Nintendo didn't bother to show us anything from the online service that they want us to pay for later on?
Because they're probably going to do a direct.
They have a direct that speaks directly to that.
I see what you did there. Stop doing that.
Well done. Yeah, I'm expecting that
so who's going to be part of my 8-person family?
Because $20 is so hard.
It is weird that
related now.
we're all coming up with a reason. Here's $8. The weirder thing is that Fortnite has, and we were talking about this before, but it has in-game chat. Like I don't need
chat on like iOS too.
Well, right, but I don't need the
Nintendo app,
Nintendo solution for
and
voice
the
chat.
Weird headphones that don't fit on your head.
Yeah,
well, I'm 100% expecting that to be the.
That's the weird thing. Like Splatoon has, they showed it in the land version of Splatoon, also has in-game chat without all the accessories.
I'm so confused by Nintendo most of the time, though.
Like, it's like, what the?
They confuse themselves.
WTF? So, who's buying Destiny season? I didn't buy Destiny 2. I'm very proud of myself for that. I want the record to show. I didn't buy Destiny 2. Still have it
for $8.
I didn't buy it either.
That was only the second time.
Yes,
that was only the second
I
time.
still haven't bought any versions of it.
No, I didn't buy it at all either. I was like, I learned my lesson. I trusted you, Bungie, with Destiny 1, and you let me down. I can't do it again.
People seem excited about the stuff they have coming out, I guess, later this year.
They're killing Cade 6. I mean, what do you expect?
I
don't buy that they're going to kill Nathan Fillion's character. And
I mean, I don't know if they actually are, but,
but that trailer,
they're implying it.
Yeah, that trailer where he's all messed up at the beginning, like...
Just makes me sad. He was always my favorite character.
But like,
they should be
for like the 10 minutes that I played it.
Anthem should go hire Peter Dinklage.
Yes, they should.
100% Anthem should go hire Peter Dinklage. Like, we want your voice acting. We want you to say it came from the moon, or what? Those wizards came from the moon. So good. Man. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know. EA still supporting Battlefront, and they took out all the loot boxes, so...
That's a feature now. We don't have. It's like trans fats. We don't have loot boxes.
But I mean, they're doing the free content for Battlefront 2 with it's all Clone War stuff. So like, okay, there's more characters. I went back to start playing that game. What they did Unravel 2 that day.
Yeah.
Which is a game that does not have online multiplayer.
I'm still waiting for Unravel to come to Switch.
It does look fun though.
It seems like a game that should be on Switch.
Well, this sounds terrible, but every time I see like these really cute little indie games like Tunic and stuff, I'm like, okay, but when is it coming to Switch?
It's
Tunic
a great
looks
question.
Really good.
Yeah,
Tunic was at
Tunic's at PAX East, right?
It was at PAX East. They were showing it, I believe, on PC. I don't remember exactly because it is releasing on Steam. It's just coming to Xbox as a timed exclusive. So like, but this is my immediate thought. Anytime I see like little indies and stuff, I'm like, but when is it coming to Switch? Because I'd rather it travel with me.
Yeah,
and it's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
as long as it performs well, right? Like, I wasn't Mike talking about how Overcooked on Switch was not didn't actually run very well.
It's a little choppy. No,
which makes me concerned about like Overcooked 2 on Switch.
I mean, I guess
I didn't feel like it was that bad when I played it.
And that was it runs at 30. I think maybe there's also a discussion to be had if they start with Switch in scope.
Right.
Development would be, let's say, more streamlined for it then. Yeah. Because I also don't think they did the original. Like, anyway, there's a whole drama.
Oh, like who did? Yeah.
So,
we better.
And then I wanted to know more about Sea of Solitude from EA. Lonely people turn into monsters.
That was quite an interesting concept. And I love every time that they bring these devs for the originals that they're publishing on stage, because you can tell they're so nervous, and it's so endearing that, to see that, because they are usually just like small groups, small dev studios that are like, we're going to try and make this happen. And they had the benefit to, be able to get a publisher through EA, even though I know there's a lot of hate for EA.
Can't imagine why.
Well, it's one of those where it's like Square Enix has the Square Enix Collective that also does publishing and things like that. And a lot of those programs are really built just to help publishers indie devs get into places that they wouldn't be able to. And usually, if there's any sort of agreement, there's not a lot from a monetary standpoint. So it's always exciting to be like, yes, way to like help spotlight the little guys. But that's just me. Also, Sea of Solitude is just like, what?
Yeah, like she's like, lonely people turn into monsters, and here's a video, and that's it. I'm like, but what?
That's a normal thing.
Tell me more.
Can you come back? How do I not become a monster? I'm very concerned right now. And then they told me about how Command & Conquer was going to iPhones.
It told you that for 15 minutes.
And to Android, and it's an alpha on Android right now, which is super weird. So,
did limited run games have a thing too?
What's that?
Yeah, Golf Story's coming out physical. I'm looking forward to that.
Is that like how Rocket League came out physical? Probably. It's like,
that was in stores. I mean, that was I have that for the Switch. Don't ask me why.
But like Saturday morning RPG.
Rocket League is amazing. I have like 400 hours on it on PC.
Wow.
I played it 4 times.
Wow.
Maybe.
Oh no, like I have a solid group of people. We get on, we play, there's hilarity and there's failure.
I want to play Laser League with people, but nobody wants to play that game. It is so good.
Game Pass. I'll play it on. I got it on Game Pass.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that.
It's good. I got a 1 month free Game Pass if somebody wants it. Yeah, you can't have signed up for it before.
Yeah, I already signed up for it, but yeah.
Oh, I haven't signed up for it.
You want a month pass? I'll send it over to you.
Okay,
you just buy all their stuff.
I own 90% of those games. Why? Like this was a discussion we had with Marsha last week, or 2 weeks. Last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Marsha.
We better move to get out of here, because we bringing up stuff.
What do you mean? We have a lot more to discuss.
But before we leave, can we bring up Madden?
Do we?
Can we bring up the Madden 2018 champion so he can be the geekiest person on earth on stage? Like
the most awkward.
Like, dude, why? Like, cool. I'm glad you're good at playing Madden. Like, they should not have asked you to talk.
No.
That's how I brought the W. Like, no, sorry, bro.
Just stop. Yeah. No, EA needs some work on their press conference too.
Go back to shotgunning a beer and you'll be fine. I was like, I don't know why you're here. But yeah, I don't know. Madden looks good. NBA looks fine.
I'm not playing either one of those, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
I don't know. And Jedi Fallen Order will be something.
Whenever we see it.
It's weird, yeah. Like, I like Respawn, so I'm excited for them to be making it, because they make Titanfall, and Titanfall's awesome. So
what was it called?
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
It'll be in between the 3rd and the 4th movie.
Yep.
Everybody's favorite.
And Battlefield's getting a Battle Royale mode.
I think that's like the one game where it actually makes sense.
It's already built that way. Like, up your 64 player count to 100 and you're good. Like, there you go. So yeah. I think that's the highlights of everyone.
Yeah,
I'm sure we missed plenty, but there was a lot.
We couldn't get to all of it, so.
Like, if Aaron wants to talk about Devolver more.
No.
Devolver was so weird. Like,
it was.
Devolver is always weird, but it's so glorious. Like, I'm so glad that they just show up and be like, we're not going to take anything seriously.
It was enjoyable, yeah. And then when they shot the lady who hosted at the end, was kind of weird, but yeah.
So it's $250 to buy one of their loot box coins on their page right now.
I tried buying one and they were sold out.
It is in stock right now.
Yeah, well.
Go spend more money on
And
things.
it has the value of whatever.
I'm going to get to check out to see. Oh, it's powered by limited run. No, this is totally a thing. Yep. Nope. I'm good. I'm not actually buying this. I just wanted to see if it would give me a.
No, I'm not buying it. So.
All right. Cool.
Mandy, anything on our way? Any wrap up comments, shout outs, plugs, all those good things.
Good time to be a gamer. I'm still waiting for Viva Pinata. You guys heard a lot about what I want from gaming today.
No,
that's why you're here.
Want this? Yeah, like
that's what we want to hear.
Viva Pinata as well, but it's
Rare's not, yeah, but
Viva Pinata Battle Royale.
Viva Pinata Battle Royale.
Horse-Dash
100 fudge hogs fall onto an island.
I used to watch the cartoon with I had one kid then, but
and then like when one dies, it's like ooh, candy, angels singing.
Did they ever do the dolls with the QR codes?
I don't think so.
They were it was supposed to be like, oh, you'll put it up to your Connect.
But you could like print them out and then still get.
That's what I remember the codes coming out. I just didn't remember if they actually made the plushies or whatever.
I don't know if I don't think they actually made the plushies.
Yeah, so
I don't think they did. But yeah, so I don't know. Good time to be a gamer. Yay! Lots of things happening. Lots of money to be spent. And otherwise, you put it on the screen, but you can find me on Twitter at LadyLuck34. And I hang out with the Gamertag Radio crew a lot, so sometimes I magically appear there as well. Like a ninja, I appear and then disappear.
That's a theory. A ninja. I'm sorry. Anyway.
I thought you said that wasn't allowed.
I saw where that was going.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm getting loopy here. Ben.
Yeah, Tiny and I, and Assault Suit. We'll be at Too Many Games, and Aaron, I think maybe you might be there as well.
Saturday, I think.
And Too Many Games in a couple of weeks in Oaks, Pennsylvania.
Scenic Oaks, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I think one of the best.
In a couple of weeks, you mean next Friday?
Oh, it is. Oh,
it's 100% next Friday, bro.
He's like, I don't know when this is.
Yeah,
I have to know.
So looking forward to that. I actually think it's probably the best retro gaming marketplace event. That better than any of the other larger conventions in the area. So good place to pick up some retro games if you're into that. So or just to hang out. So that's about it.
So I'll piggyback on Ben. Yeah. So we have Too Many Games. I'll also be at NJ GamerCon, a week after that, and then PsychoCon 2 weeks after that, all for Extra Life. So hey, you should go to extra-life.org, and if you don't have a team, sign up. Go to extra-life.org/team/GameEnthus and join our team, or make your own, and raise money for your local Children's Miracle Network hospital.
Do it for the kids.
Do it for the kids.
Because we said so.
170 hospitals to support, so I promise there's one near you. So, yeah. And since Mike's not here, have your dogs spayed or neutered by a professional, and also give blood, preferably to a professional as well.
Professional what?
Blood taker. So, Chuck Norris. Phlebotomist, yes. So, and Aaron, what about you, bud?
Thank you to Mandy and Ben for joining us. It's a pleasure speaking with you and sharing ideas.
Good times.
Definitely. Thank you to the folks who jumped into the chat. GameVet and Keon and Curtis, Robbie 1051, Global 13, Scoop Moose. Everybody, if I missed you, it's not on purpose. It's late, and it's one of those things. But thank you for jumping in. It makes the show better. If, like Mandy said earlier, she and Ben's information will be in the show notes, so you can certainly get it there. And if you want to send us an email, you can always email us at podcast@GameEnthus.com or send us a voicemail at 202-573-7686. And yeah, we're going to take a quick break and then come back for part 2 of the show, which is another 4 hours. We're going to watch all the press conferences.
I'll be sleeping the whole time.
And talk over them in audio.
We're going for the second round. See what we can pick up now.
No, actually, what we should do now is cut to the Giant Bomb stream and
After
talk
night.
over the Giant Bomb stream.
That sounds productive.
Well, okay, time out. I will give this one. Did any of you watch the Giant Bomb?
No, I didn't watch any of there.
Yeah,
So-
I did. I watched some other stuff.
Did you watch the Ubisoft one?
No.
When Skull and Bones came up and Dan Reichert came to the conclusion
I
that
heard about
that
that
pirates
one.
steal things.
He was serious?
He didn't realize pirates robbed people.
Like, as in piracy?
Like as in like pirates on the high seas when they were burying treasure, he didn't realize that treasure was stuff they stole from other people. And you can see everyone else on the panel just hold their head and like, what are you talking about?
Like face palm.
Like,
well, it's the same guy who knows how a mortgage works, so I mean, I can't.
yo, he could take a wolf though, like one medium size.
Bare hands.
You know, he did get married at Taco Bell, so.
Anyway, Game Vet. I don't know if you're still in the thing, but if you are, if you want to tweet at me, I'm more than happy to talk Extra Life strategy. Though I think you said Kansas City, so you have a bunch of good people already there.
And Global 13 is surprised that I pronounced Golgo 13. I didn't know how else you. That's all I'd ever do was Golgo. It looked.
Yeah, I mean that's a
Golgo.
classic NES game.
Duke Togo.
Classic
That's-
anime series.
Yeah.
Also
I've never
classic.
watched it in my life, but yeah, I don't know. I think the name Duke Togo was kind of awesome, though, man. That's. Anyway, I'm rambling.
Actually, Duke to go. No,
There
I'm
you
kidding.
go. There you go. All right, we should wrap this up. Go ahead.
I was just on that. I had someone that was pronouncing a username My Stick Knight, and so I went and looked at it, and it's Mystic Knight.
Maybe they had something on their mind. I don't know.
I was like, wait, why do you keep saying my? Like, I was yeah. So, My Stick Knight. So, anyway, get some sleep.
All right, we're gonna wrap up, but yeah, well, we already did wrap up. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the show. Thank you for watching the streams and chatting with us. Lord willing, we'll be back, I guess, next Thursday.
I mean,
You sound not sure about that.
you're in Atlantic City, the place of hope
until
and dreams.
Wednesday.
So it's up to you. Actually, I don't have to do setup for too many games until like the afternoon, so I can do a show Thursday night.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Anyway, everybody have a good night and enjoy your weekend, and don't do anything I wouldn't do twice.
Oh, it's Father's Day this weekend, by the way.
Good advice.
Yeah, they've
It
told
is.
me
Maybe.
to be prepared to enjoy something, and so I said okay. Although I was asked
All
for
the
one.
context you get.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
You'll enjoy this.
they treat me well, so I cannot complain. They've always treated me well, with the respect that I may or may not deserve. So yeah, no, I deserve it. No, I don't know.
Good stuff.
All right. Well,
Is this stream still going? Are we still live?
You would be
Was
the
my
one to know
camera
this.
on this whole time?
who's in charge of this?
No, no
So
one
did
told
you
me.
lose the whole recording? No. We have to do it again?
From memory.
Let me tell
Oh,
you
man.
how